Brett already talking crap.
What's he saying?
About right, late. What's up with that?
Dude, what's that?
Brett, he said, about right, late. What's up with that? I'm like a minute late.
I think, yeah, like 2 minutes late.
Brett, Mr. On Time Brett. I'm going to send him a link because he'll probably jump on where I'm at.
Yeah, we could use Brett because he knows a lot about Ben Lilly.
He said he was going to send you some stuff, but you know Brett. I don't know if he did or not. There we go. All right. Now that I'm done messing around, we are live with one goal, and that's to talk about Ben Lilly. But don't have your shit together. Oh, we got Brett on the sidelines. So I sent him a link. Well, look, my wife showed up to make me think she's watching me. So I can't yell at her for no support.
Yeah.
What you been up to, Mr. Barnes?
Just working in this heat. It's rough here. I do a bunch of stuff.
Kind of whatever makes money.
Yeah, it's all pretty hot. We've been hot here, like we're a little bit different heat than you guys, but
well, our humidity's 14%.
Yeah, it's a different deal.
But
we're probably not near as. You've already been to 102?
Oh, we've been to 110, I think, or 13 or 14 already. It's 102 today. Feels like 98, which is about right, and 14% humidity.
Yeah, we've been about
wind, but
we've been about 93, 94, and it feels like about 110.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you believe this or not, but it says 0 inches of precipitation in Arizona. I don't know why. None expected in the next 10 days. And they're saying we're not going to have a monsoon season either. Not a good one.
Do you guys get a monsoon season?
We used to get real good ones every July. Where I live up in Sholo, man, it'd rain every day at 1:30.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I lived in Africa for a little bit, and we would have a monsoon that lasted 3 months. Like it would rain almost every day, for like 3 months.
And you don't think about that in Africa.
I mean, I was in Eastern Africa. It's not, it's sub-Saharan. It's not desert. I mean, there are deserts there, but where I was towards the coast, so it was pretty rainy. And then I lived in Hawaii for a while, and it was. I mean, you could set your clock by it. Like they did on the news. They would do like a weather forecast. They could just record a generic weather forecast, and that was going to be every day. It would be like 82 to 84, and then between 1 and 2 o'clock p.m. light showers. It's like every day.
What were you in Africa for?
My dad worked for the United States government, so we traveled all over.
Told you he was undercover, Brett.
Something sneaky about him right there, I can tell.
Not me.
I see who he hangs out with on that other podcast.
I know.
They all those kind of guys stick together.
I'm on the other side of that usually.
Well, so I was just wondering if all your buddies were on the Bear Grease Render today. We had about 4 Oklahoma game wardens on there.
On the Bear Grease podcast?
Yeah.
4 of them.
Do you remember their names?
I couldn't tell you.
No, maybe I can find it.
What were they talking about? They
were talking about like poachers and deer poachers and illegal.
Some guy who didn't have power and water for a long time.
They didn't talk about
illegal
bear hunting in Oklahoma.
What they talked about was paddlefish and the caviar. What do you call that stuff? The roe or the eggs?
Yeah.
And I guess that's a big deal.
Yeah, we fish for paddlefish We didn't this year. Usually it's best in the springtime. Like if we get a bunch of rain and it's April, May, then like we'll go snag for paddlefish. I'm not a big fan of eating paddlefish. They're fun to catch because they get huge, and you're snagging because they don't
bite.
They don't bite. They're kind of like those whales that just kind of like filter the water.
How big are they?
I mean, we catch them pretty regular. They're 50, 60 pounds. I mean, they go up, to 100, over 100.
Yeah, Dylan says, I heard you guys calling me an undercover fish cop. I'm not a fish cop or undercover.
But yeah,
definitely undercover now.
So we call them spoonbill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I've heard them. I didn't know what they were talking about when they said paddlefish.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the hillbilly version is spoonbill because they've got
they're almost like a gar, right?
Kind of. I mean, they don't have scales like a gar. They're smooth skin like a catfish, but they have that. They've got a bill on them, like a duck bill on them. That's 12 to 24 inches usually. And they're fun to catch, but you just totally snag them. Like you just take a, 12, 14 foot snagging rod, surf rod.
I guess they carry at certain times of the year, they carry a lot of, what do you call it? You call it roe?
Egg.
I mean,
we call it, we just call it eggs, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of, so like when you catch them, you can actually sell those eggs to the wildlife department. They'll buy them. Like they'll actually pay you cash money for them, if I remember right. I've never done it, but
is there a big black market for it or something?
There's a big black market. So like in Oklahoma, we've gotten, over the last 10 years, at least where I'm at, like we've gotten a large community of Vietnamese, Cambodians, Laotians, and they like they love all that kind of stuff. So there is a big black market for selling those eggs, which I don't know if it's really illegal to sell the eggs.
Didn't they say it was illegal to take them over state lines or something like that?
Yeah, I could imagine that. But they're a cool fish. I mean, they're like a prehistoric. I mean, they really, I don't know. I'm not up on the science, but they are like a really old species of fish. But they're fun to catch. It all depends on where you snag them. Like sometimes you'll snag them in the tail, and then it's just like pulling in 50 pounds of dead weight. And that's
a log.
Yeah, but if you snag them towards their head, they'll give you a pretty good fight. It's pretty fun.
I don't know much about fishing. I live in New Mexico.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm in Arizona. I fish on a canal.
An irrigation ditch.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looked like it's like concrete sides.
I catch catfish. We had a bunch of bluegill the other day.
Yeah, usually like,
what is it?
Usually our hound hunting kind of. I mean, we hunt through the summer, but it seems like the older we get, the less we do of it. But so we kind of transition about May or June from like hound hunting to fishing. So we'll fish pretty heavy from now till September or October.
Matter of fact, I was on Onyx Maps looking at up north, and I called Mike Leonard, just looking for a place to get out of the heat. And we got a place called.
Mike.
Do you know Mike?
Yeah. Running hounds.
Yeah. And I found, I mean, anywhere up north, the highs are only getting up around 70 degrees. But down here, it's getting up over 105 every day. And it's absolutely miserable.
Bam.
Yeah, there's a spoonbill.
Wow. You got skills, Chris.
That's the first time I did that. You see my background?
You're proud of yourself.
There's Mr. Ben.
See my background too. You know why I did? I think do you know what program he used last night, Ed? Because he had a background. I'm like, hey, I wonder.
Yeah, it was the same. It was the
this
same.
one?
Yeah. Stream bird.
Ed's hitting the circuit. Next thing you know, he's
I
going to be on
know.
Joe. He's going to be on Joe Rogan.
Like pimping himself out all over the place.
No, I'm not. I'm trying not to. It's wearing me out.
I just been bugging him. I'm like, Ben Lilly, every week. Ben Lilly.
How much do you have to pay him, Chris?
Oh man.
It was $5.
I just give him my Venmo account, let him take whatever he wants.
Just show up.
Yeah.
You know, Ed, we've been picking fun at you guys and hoping you guys would pick fun at us, but
didn't even notice what we said last night about him.
No, I didn't. Last night I was recording, so I wasn't listening. But I caught the week before
the raw.
And we mentioned it on. We mentioned
I
it
did
on
the last 9 minutes.
Week. Yeah.
So
I still haven't listened to that.
I called Chris and I was like, "Did you watch Brett and Chris's podcast?" He's like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." I was like, "I can't remember," but they put "raw" in the title. I was like, "It was a poke."
It was a poke.
We're not done poking yet either.
No, we got to get Chris riled up.
Yeah, keep at it. Yeah, keep at it. I like it.
Did you? If you would have watched our Monday night, the first 45 seconds was a big poke.
I know.
But I'll watch it. It'll probably be next week before I get around to it. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like, dude, I was like, there's room enough for everybody. Like, we ain't gonna squabble about this kind of stuff.
Nah, it's just fun to pick fun.
Yeah, I mean, none of us are quitting our day jobs on this stuff.
Not yet. Probably never will.
Not ever.
Well, just Brett. He sold his day job.
Yeah. I don't even think he's sitting on a chair. He's sitting on a bag of money, isn't he?
That's why it squeaks.
I don't want anybody to get it. I got to keep it close to me.
Yeah.
Missy, I can't go to Elephant Butte. My ex-wife lives up there.
Oh, shoot.
So.
You ever seen that? You seen that movie, The Quick and the Dead? With Sharon Stone, and it's an old cheesy Western, but
I've seen it.
She's laying in his bed. She goes, this thing's hard. He says, well, if I don't sleep on it, they'll steal it. She lifts the blanket and it's all dynamite.
Yeah.
Gunpowder. Look, there's Dylan right there. There's Dylan.
No, you got to get sponsors. Don't you guys have sponsors, Ed?
Man, I'm not into that. Because, like, you get sponsors and then you're like, it limits what you can say. And you got
no, I wouldn't do
obligations.
That's why we don't have sponsors.
They're not going to tell me what I can say. What I can say, I would never do that.
No, but they might quit being your sponsor. I mean, the thing is, so like I put out a magazine, and I kind of have the same philosophy with like the magazine. Like, I'm not, I got a day job. I ain't making money on this hound stuff. The hound stuff I do because I like it. And I don't like to like taint the things that I like with money. So I try really hard to like separate the things that I enjoy and money. I try not to mix those two.
Really? I've always dreamed about being able to do what I love to do and get paid for it. Kind
Without
of a different
turning
philosophy.
it into a job.
The problem is, like, so I just said that, but like, so I like making knives. And when I first started making knives, I just gave them to friends, and kept some and gave them to family. And then at one point I was like, I can make a few bucks at this. I mean, I might as well make a few bucks. So I started doing that, and it quickly turned into
a
job
work.
And I kind of lost that.
The fun. You took the fun out of it.
It took the fun out of it. So then, like, so just here recently, like within the last 6 months or so. So like I used to. So after I started doing that, I would, people would commission knives, but it was like they were in charge of all the details. So it'd be like, you're gonna make it like this, they pick the handle material, exactly how it's gonna be made. and it was like a total job.
Yeah.
I did that for a few years, and then just here about 6 months ago, I was like, okay, that's over. Like, you can buy a knife from me, but you can pick the general style you want, but you can't tell me anything else. Like, I get to have fun with it.
Tell Blackbeard Kennels, I don't beg. I don't beg for shit.
I knew he was gonna get mad, but listen, interview
I
stories.
I don't beg at all. I never have, never will.
I knew Brett would fire up on that. But listen, like the interview stories and tell is free for you guys. Like, we don't do it for money, just like this one. So, born 100 years too late is a different story.
Yeah, like Brett was saying, I think it was I'm not a leftist, but I kind of like some of those leftist guys, some of their shit. I think wasn't it?
I kind of like.
Wasn't it? Was it Pancho Villa who said he would rather live on his feet than die on his knees?
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
and it kind of goes
I've
back to
heard
that, like
before.
begging for sponsors kind of stuff. It was either Pancho Villa or it might have been who was the Cuban revolutionary?
Not Noriega.
No.
Well, he was in Noriega's camp. He became like a big. I mean, they had shirts with his.
Yeah. Dang it! I see his face.
It'll come to me in about 10 minutes, and I'll just blow it.
Someone will say it.
It was either him or Pancho Villa who said that. It doesn't really matter who said it.
As far as the sponsors go, the only thing I thought was really going to do the interviews of some of these old guys that don't get online. And I did everybody I could close to me. But the rest of it is traveling. And I can't really take money out of my pocket to go travel around and do that. And I thought it was, I thought it served a good, when Bruce Kennedy did it, that's what got me hooked. I love the content, that he did. I thought that was real. It was unbelievable, and that's what got me started.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, you're retired now, aren't you, Brett?
Yeah. I do my born 100, and that's
that takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
And that's what I was getting at. Like, even if you're retired, like, I'm not. So, like, clearing the time to travel to talk to these guys is a huge hurdle. And then it's not, gas is $3 a gallon. It ain't cheap to travel around.
Oh yeah. No, it costs a lot of money. And I thought, well, and I don't, and one of the things is, like, I have a guy wanting to sponsor me now. He's a friend of mine. And I just I can't bring myself to tell him, yes, this is what it'll cost or whatever, because I don't want to charge my friends. What bothers me is I think that some of these big companies that we spend money with, dog food companies, Garmin, all these, things like that, they should kick in a little bit and say, that's a good cause. We'll spot you so much.
Mandela.
No, he's from Africa, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's Nelson Mandela was South Africa. I'm talking Cuba. Che Guevara.
Is that him?
That was the dude. It was either Che Guevara or Pancho Villa. Che Guevara, total left-wing nut job.
Put up Blackbeards.
I did. I was going for it.
Sorry, you just hit a nerve.
Brett hates to ask, like, these last few days, I've been punching numbers like crazy, and Brett has a friend that wants to sponsor, and man, I'm the same way. You can't ask your friends for money. If it was just some guy who's trying to make money off you.
And he's a real wealthy man, but I just can't. I can't.
Pennies on the dollar.
I know. I can't. I want Garmin. I want a dog food company. I want somebody like that I've been spending so much money with over the years. Say, okay, that's a good. That's a worthwhile project to go talk to these guys.
The thing with Garmin is, we all spend a ton of money. Hound spend a ton of money with Garmin, but when you look at their bigger business model, we're
$10 million. $10 million for pansies that hike, or $1 million for Houndsman. that is going to cause so much controversy with these $10 million ones because it's used for murdering.
In other words, they don't need us.
They don't need us. And I really think they try to kind of keep us at an arm's length because, like you said, like politically, it could hurt their big portion of their money making aspect.
Yeah.
So I mean, traditionally, Garmin hasn't been a big sponsor of podcast magazines. You know,
they stay out of it. They stay out of it.
Yeah,
it's like, they're not Dana White. You know, Dana White says fuck them all.
Yeah. Hey, what did he do? They did something. He threw all their.
They told him not to vote for Trump, not to say he voted for Trump or something.
That exercise company that makes those stationary bikes, and he kicked them all out of his gym.
Go after yourself. Mm-hmm.
And he took all their equipment out.
Says no one's going to tell me who I can vote for.
I mean, that's easy to do when you're worth. I mean, what do you think Dana White is worth?
I was gonna say.
It's easy to stand on your principles when you got a bank account to back it up.
I go throw my Garmin's out, but it won't make any difference.
Man, so like I got mad at Garmin a few years back just because they seem to kind of be taking this like business model that like mimicked like Apple. And it was relatively, just like maybe the last 4 or 5 years. So they kind of took that business model of like the constant upgrades,
Oh, you got to,
you got to keep up with the Joneses and keep the newest and greatest, or your shit doesn't work. So I got mad at them, and I'm not going to name the names because the company that I tried, they actually do support hound hunting because it's their main business. But so I switched to a different tracking system,
and you're not gonna say their name.
No, because I don't want to throw them on the bus because they do support hound hunting, but their product just was not.
So you think if you do say something that it's going to throw them under the bus because they're supporting hound hunting? So
it ain't a Garmin, is what he's saying.
Well, I know, but I'm wondering what his thought process of how.
Well, I'm just saying that I like the company, and they support hound hunting, and I tried them. I mean, I gave them an honest. I gave them an honest shot, but their product just it didn't compare to.
Oh, okay, I got
Garmin.
you. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Okay,
so I mean, I had to go back to Garmin because at the end of the day, like I want to get my hounds caught at the end of the night, and know where they're at.
It's user friendly. It's user friendly.
But the market is wide open,
Yeah,
and I'm sure this company will get better, and for other people that might be on the sidelines, like the market is wide open because not many hound hunters are a big fan of the Garmin company, just the way they run their stuff.
And when Starlink comes out with their collars, we'll be okay.
Oh, you just put a little chip inside your collar and with about a 6-year battery in it, and then be able to track them wherever they are. But Cody King had a different type of attitude about it. He said, well, we should just feel fortunate that Garmin makes such a good product that we can use. And
I mean, they do, but it comes at a really hefty price.
Well, we pay for it. Exactly.
Yeah, we pay. I mean, and it's not, it's not cheap. Like when I first started running Garmin's, like back on I think I got into them on a 220, and
I just got rid of my 220.
Oh, they were great.
6 months ago, the DC 30s to 220s. I'm out in the hills. There's 100 guys out with those 15s and 25s. Not one interference.
Yeah, a DC 30 paired to a 220 or even a DC 40 collar.
40s.
I still think that was the best. That was for me. That was the best combo I had for like knowing what my dogs were doing, and we didn't have shocking on them or anything like that. But
you had the Tritronics where you didn't have to have service; you could just.
I mean, we used to run a 6-dog Tritronic. Funny story about that. So like that, that Tritronic could you could chalk up to 6 dogs, but it was confusing because you just had 3 buttons, and then you had that toggle switch that toggled. You moved the toggle to 3 different dogs. Yeah. So I hunted with this old man, and he had that Tritronics with 6 collars, and I don't even remember I don't remember what was going on, but something was going on with some dog, and he had Parkinson's real bad, so he shook and he would get kind of flustered. But he busted out that Tritronics, and he was trying to remember which dog had which collar on, and he just started mashing buttons. And like we were standing at the back of the truck, there'd be dogs in the dog box. They were getting shocked. They were howling out. He shocked every damn dog that had a collar on before he got to the right dog. And it was kind of confusing.
Unless you had the colored collars, and
I mean, they were color common. Yeah, they were color.
Same
you'd put the yellow
on
collar on the yellow button, but you still had to remember what dog had.
If you use the same collar every time, you're okay. But once you like put them on some pups, maybe and you didn't take a dog or two, that's when it got confusing.
Yeah, or if you're 85 years old and
yeah, here's a good story. My dog was yapping in the back. I thought he got his ear. Thought he got his ear stuck in the dog box somewhere because he's in the corner, and I'm like trying to lift my dog box. I'm like, what the hell? He gets out and he just runs right and he stops. And I go in. I'm like, well, I don't know what he's doing. I go into my truck. One of my kids, they were about 2 years old. They get hold of those shockers and they're over there just pushing buttons. Oh, poor dogs.
I remember what we used to do before we had shocking collars. I mean, they were out, but we didn't have them. And our dogs weren't real bad about running trash, but we always seem to have a problem with dogs barking in the box. So if we knew which dogs were prone to box bark, so we would put those dogs on the outside. Like I had a 3-hole box, so we put them dogs that tend to bark box on the outside hole slots in the dog box, and we'd run a rope on their collar, and then we'd run it up the side of the truck and slip it in the side of the window on both sides. So if they started barking, you just grab that rope and yank it, and smash their head up against the back of that box. Hey, it works just as good as shocking.
You hear them stories about them guys roping them dogs and hanging them if they were trashing, and it worked too.
First story I ever heard about a guy locally lion hunting. This was back in Estancia when I was a kid. An old girlfriend of mine, they had a ranch up there, and they had a guy come out. They had a lion killing calves. And I asked her about it. I said, what's going on? She said, they got to chasing deer, and he strung them up in the tree and whipped them for chasing deer. My gosh.
I've seen an old man do that. Like we was hunting off mules, and he would, I've seen him do it a couple times, and it was tough. It was rough, but he'd rope one and throw the rope over a limb, and then dally off on the horn and back that mule up and hang that hound, and then he'd cut him a switch and just almost beat him to death.
Here's the guy now with the hound beater shirt on.
Oh, look at that. I was gonna say a minute ago, somebody said they didn't know Benny was a millionaire. That's insulting to Benny. He's like a billionaire.
Yeah, millionaire. He burns that at camp. He burns that at camp for firewood.
Yeah. Uses that to start his fires.
Brett,
Benny, what'd you do? Shave your shoulders?
You missed your lip.
Usually his hair is it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Brett, I did a thing today.
What'd you do?
I was tired of waiting on you.
Oh no!
I bought Benny a present.
Did you?
Going to him. I did.
Good. What'd you get him?
A little set of ear things with the mic for his iPhone.
Good. I've been threatening to do that for so long.
You forgot. Today I was just sitting around and I'm like, I'm just gonna order one.
I'm gonna send him a tripod for his phone too, because I'm tired of looking up his nose.
Chris gave me an idea for a shirt, and I'm gonna make it.
What's that?
I get 10% of the profit.
you don't get anything.
No, that's a different Chris.
Yeah, I'm stealing it.
Oh, but I only get 5%.
It's gonna be a wife beater like Benny's got on, but it's gonna say hound beater on it.
There you go.
I think that'd be good.
Hey,
And have a graphic of a dog hanging in a tree.
Yeah.
I believe there's very few hound hunters today that know what we dealt with before Tritronics was affordable.
I mean, I'm just 50 years old, but I feel a lot older because I kind of came up like hunting with really old men. And one thing that I've noticed over the last 30 years or so is that it seems like every generation of hound hunter gets a little bit softer on their dogs. Like I've seen them old men, like, I think of myself as pretty rough on a dog, and I've seen them treat dogs in ways that were doing bad that just like it made me hang my head and blush.
I wonder if that's why. The guy who got me into hound hunting, same thing. I seen him get out of the truck because his dog trashed on deer. And I was kind of sucking my thumb in the back seat, hiding in the corner after it. But he didn't have shock collars. This was in the 90s, and he didn't have. I think he had shock collars, but they're like this big, and they had these 2 prongs on it that, maybe you had to grind up a little bit.
Yeah, they were big and metal.
Yeah,
but I really do think so I run Garmin collars with shotgun on them. I almost never do it. Like literally maybe 1 or 2 times a year, if that. Because I really think a dog learns more. And there's like professional trainers out there who will totally disagree with me. But I think a dog learns more when he knows that punishment is coming from you. Like if you use a collar quote right, they don't know it's coming from you.
Yeah.
Which I kind of get that, but the other side of my brain is like, no, they need to know that this is coming straight from me.
I think a lot of times mine know because I'm yelling and kicking and screaming and shocking at the same time.
Generally, when I use, and that's why I say I'm kind of kind of contradicting myself, but so like when I use a shocking collar, I don't try to attach myself to that punishment, and maybe that's where I'm screwing up.
Well, no, I mean that's what we're kind of all been taught. Really, I think is to make it where they think it's coming from the trash they're trying to run or whatever.
Yeah, I mean
that behavior they're doing. But
somebody mentioned on here, one of the comments, it's gone, so I don't know who said it. But they mentioned the 55-gallon barrel. So I was hunting with this old man one time, and he had a red tick bitch. Okay, he was mentioning a 55-gallon barrel, but it's a different context.
No, I know where you're going with it. It's a good story.
Where you're going with it.
Yeah, it's a good story. Tell us.
So he had this red tick bitch. It was funny because we had been at a hog bay. He had this big old dog that who knows what this thing was. It had some mastiff in it. It was a big dog, but I'd hunted a bunch with that mastiff type dog from a different hog hunter I used to hunt with, and he was a good dog. He tended to kind of get rough, and he wasn't told cattle broke because the places they hunted didn't really have cattle. Anyway, so without my knowing it, this buddy of mine, Lee, traded. They had a dog trade. So the day after that bay, Lee ended up with the red tick. That's what it was. Lee had the mastiff, and he traded this guy for this red tick bitch. And he was all proud of her because she was a good looking dog. So we're at the bay on a Saturday, and he's like, "Man, tomorrow let's go out and see what this bitch can do." Like this dude talks really highly of her. So we go out, and she hunted superb, like super deep, hunted hard. And to her defense, like we didn't get on pigs, but so she got on a deer, and she did not bump this deer. She ran this deer for hours. It took us hours to catch her. And Lee was steaming mad. And that's what it was. That's why Lee had gotten rid of this mastiff dog because we got around a ranch, and the dog like didn't like catch any cows, but showed some real interest in it.
Mhm.
We're still trying to catch this red tick, and the dude he traded for calls Lee on his phone, and he had done the same thing, took this massive dog out hunting the next day, and he's like, "You didn't tell me this thing caught cows." And Lee goes, "Well, you didn't ask." And he's like, "We're in a huge old mess over here. This thing's got a cow caught, and we're getting kicked off this place we had to hunt." And then Lee was mad about this red tick running deer, and I was on the sidelines. I just thought it was hilarious because I knew both guys. And Lee was like, "I can't believe this guy didn't tell me that red tick run a deer." And I'm like, "You didn't tell him he'd catch a cow either."
It's all segues. This will all segue into the old days. Ben Lilly.
So are you going to tell? Are you going there with the 55?
Oh, so I got sidetracked.
Finish it.
So we finally got
to keep you in line here.
Yeah, we finally got this red dog caught, and it was getting kind of deep into the evening. But Lee was like, "I'll fix this dog." So we go back to his house, and I'd hunted with him forever, but I'd never seen this. So he goes into his barn. He's like, "Bring that dog in here." And he had a plastic 55-gallon barrel rigged up on a frame with an electric motor.
Oh, geez.
Because, everybody always says they'd roll him down a hill.
Modern.
Yeah, Lee was modern. Lee was modern.
He was.
So I tie up this red dog, and then he goes in the house and gets a deer hide out of the freezer, and he throws the deer hide in the barrel, and then we do this red dog in the barrel, and he closes the door, latches it, turns on this motor, and it starts spinning, So we stand there for a little while, maybe like 5 minutes, and then Lee goes, "You want a cup of coffee?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could take some coffee." So we walk to the house, and the whole time I'm thinking about this red dog in this barrel. And he slowly gets around to pouring us some coffee. At this point, by the time we start drinking coffee, it's been 15 minutes. This dog's been in this barrel. So I drink my coffee kind of fast. To Lee, don't you think we ought to get out there and tend to that dog? And he goes, "Oh no, she needs to stay in there for at least an hour." And I was like, "An hour? She's liable to die." And he's like, "She'll die or she'll never run a deer again."
Did it work?
It did work. And then that's what Lee was saying. He's like, "If you pull her out too fast," he's like, "I promise you," he's like, "I've done this." He's like, "If you pull her out too fast and we have to go back for a second chance at the barrel," he said, it will be impossible to get that dog in that barrel a second time. So you got to give him enough, give him enough exposure that first time.
That's what, when I was interviewing Clay Henderson and them up there, he told me the story about they had a dog that was real bad about running deer. They said they got a deer hide and stuck it in a barrel and stuck the dog in the barrel and rolled it down the hill. And I asked him, I said, "Well, did that break the dog from running deer?" He said, "No." He said, "But you sure never could get him close to a 55-gallon barrel again."
It did break this dog, and she turned out to be a superb dog. And I mean, it broke her to the point where she was almost too broke. If we were just hunting and the dogs weren't running deer, but they just got close to a patch of woods and spooked some up, she was done for the day. If you saw a deer, she was done for the day. Other than that, she was a superb dog.
I've had dogs before that were so that were pretty soft, and if you shocked another dog and they were around, then they would shut down on you for a little while, and they weren't the dog that got shocked.
Yeah,
they just kind of shut down and quit you for a while. Not for a long time. Just fall in behind the mule and say that's enough.
Yeah, and some will quit for the whole day.
Yeah,
and that's the thing of it. That's what I like. I'll use the tone button more than I use the shock button. So I mean,
well, yeah. Once they know what that is, then you just tone them, and they that's enough.
I mean, a lot of them a lot of them like timid type dogs. So if I've got a dog that's not timid, kind of hard-headed, so I'll look for an opportunity to shock them lightly, and I shock lightly, and then I tone, so that they connect the tone to the shock. So from there on out, I can just use the tone. But like on a lot of timid dogs, they've never even been shocked. Like they've never even had the shock tone. They'll respond to that tone almost as much as a shock.
Yeah. I usually always train mine to recall on the tone, come back to me on the tone. So
yeah, I don't do a lot of recall. So yeah, mine's when I'm using a shock, it's totally like discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into Ben Lilly or anything else, let's go over free casting real quick. We're gonna get you on this one, right, Brett?
I know what I call free casting, so I don't know. I might be wrong, but I know.
Nah, you don't know how bad I wanted to hit a button and log on last night and say, "Hey, Well,
yeah, I mean, give me y'all's definition of free casting, because we need to like get some kind of standard established.
I think free casting is dogs running wild. Period. Like when I free cast, here's one way I free cast. I'm not rigging. I'm not just driving around rigging. I'll go to a mountain. My dogs are pretty good that I can let them out. I'll let a couple out, and I call it free casting. And they'll go. Sometimes I have to walk out just a little bit, be like, go. And then they'll go run a mountain. They'll go run up a draw. They'll make a big circle by themselves. And then if they don't get nothing, they'll usually come back, and I'll go hit another spot. Or,
well, I mean, I would call that free casting. I mean, that fits my definition.
Like when I walk into a mountain, I don't have leashes though. So I just let all my dogs out. I walk into a mountain, and those dogs just go, and I just walk and listen for my dogs. So I'm not putting them on a track. I'm waiting for them to bring me to a track. Or when I'm on my mule, same thing. I let them go. And when you're doing a big circle, those dogs are just kind of free casting. You're not directing them in any. I'm following the dogs.
But mine don't leave me. I mean, mine are not going to leave and go around a mountain. I wouldn't let them do that. But
unless they're trailing something. Right?
They go further. Yeah, they have. I call it asking permission. They're working out around me, and some go a lot deeper than others. Go further out. But I don't like them to go too far away. I like them to stay fairly tight, and then I can watch them, see how they react to stuff, and they, then I get the right indications. They start whipping their tail, and then pretty soon they open up a few times. Then I can kind of determine, that we're on the right thing.
You consider that free casting?
Yes.
See, yeah, because they're just.
I don't.
Why would you not? They're on the ground loose. I mean, they're free casting.
We're not telling them where to go.
They're on the ground, but they're not really free.
They're totally free.
Well, I mean, they're not on a leash, but.
The only, I'm with Brett on that. I used to keep my dogs within 300 yards just so I can watch what they do. Lately, I've been letting them kind of get out there and go a little bit, because they always come back and check with me. But that's what my dogs do. They come back and look at me, and I'll say, go find them. And then they'll go back out.
Yeah, but to me, that's not free casting. I'm not gonna be wrong.
Let's hear Billionaire Benny's version of free casting.
I'm sort of along the lines with Brett. My dogs were free to come and go, but I wanted them to come back and check in with me. Unless they started a track, then they just went, and I had to keep up, and I had to find them. But when there was no track located, I didn't want them just going out and when you got 8, 10, 12 dogs on the ground and everything's going in a different direction, how are you going to know what's going on?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I put like 12 dogs on the ground and right through the country.
Well, I think where it comes to me, like when I say casting,
they're going out.
To me, that's the kind of insinuated definition of that word is that they're leaving.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
that's
can see
the
that.
casting part of it, and then the free part of it is that I'm not setting them on a track. I'm just
of course, we don't set ours on a track either, like the snow hunters, that drive and get a track and then they let them out of the box and put them on the track. They have to find most of the time where I'm at, you can't even find a stinking track. You just kind of got to trust them. You can't see which way they're going.
I would say
that's
what Brett's talking about is it's a very controlled environment, and along the lines with you, Ed, it's we see it as free casting, but it's a controlled free cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what we were kind of getting at last night, and then again tonight. So like, it means different things to different people, and I think like that term free cast kind of holds like this high level, like people hear like, oh, he's got free cast dogs, and they kind of insinuate that that's this elevated level of dogs, which I don't.
Well, it is.
I don't buy into that. but my thing is that obviously but a lot of words have different connotations or different meanings on your regional, where you are regionally or
and what you can and what you're
demographics, hunting. Right?
What's that?
It's demographics.
Yeah. So pretty much, I shouldn't say that, but kind of like in the South, if we say free casting, I think I'd say the majority of people are thinking what I'm thinking. Where it's like a dude commented a while ago, I don't remember his name, but he's like in the coon hunting world. He kind of said the same thing that I was saying. Like when you turn them loose, they're gone.
No, that's not what we do.
But you guys are in an area when they're gone, they're going to find something. When we're dry ground hunting or bare ground hunting lion, we're in an area that we probably won't find something.
It's there's plenty of nights where our dogs get 2 miles deep and we don't ever get a strike. We might hunt for 6 hours all night.
We might go 40 miles and never get a strike.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or 40 days.
What the heck?
Oh, flood warning.
Fire. We're in a fire.
Oh, probably.
Emergency alert. National Weather Service. Dust storm warning for this area until 7:15. Be ready.
You guys have dust storms?
Oh boy. You don't know the half of it, buddy. I'll send you an Arizona tornado full of trash, Walmart bags, and dirt about 1.5 miles high.
Yeah,
with not a cloud in the sky.
Ours are full of cows and house roofs.
Yeah, I didn't. I remember hunting with my uncle when I was just a kid and coon hunting there in Arkansas, and that's all we did. We walked out to a point, and he had the dogs on a leash, and we went out to that point and turned the dogs loose and built the fire. And we sat there, and those dogs cast it out looking for a coon. You
just stayed there till they treed?
Yeah, till they do something. That's like where I'm at. Coon hunters did that, but I would say the people that did it most were the coyote hunters, the wolf hunters. They were notorious for turning 20 dogs loose, 30 dogs loose, and they would just make a campfire in the middle of the dirt road, and them old dudes would sit there and drink whiskey all night. They didn't even really care about catching a coyote or a fox. They would just turn a shit ton of dogs loose, make a fire, start drinking whiskey, and they'd sit there till the sun come up, and then most of those guys wouldn't even gather their dogs. They'd just go home.
Dogs show up later on.
And the dogs show up at home. It was totally both my grandfathers were wolf hunters, and
I can see where your free casting definition is different right there.
Yes,
you can't get no more free casting than that.
Well, what is the definition of casting? You cast something out. So I can see that. I can see how your terminology could be different.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from like the hog hunting side of it. So, to a coon hunter, free casting is going to fall in line with like my definition more often, probably with wolf hunters is going to fall, in line as well. But then when you get to hog hunters, a huge portion of hog hunters are not free casting. They have dogs that stay pretty close and they're walking them dogs. So a lot of hog hunters don't kind of understand the concept of free casting or my concept of free casting. And it's a totally different deal. I've not always free casted. And when I first started free casting, maybe like 10, 12 years ago, I was a nervous wreck because you're like turning loose a little bit. Like your control is kind of gone. If I'm 200 yards from my dogs and I think they're chasing a goat, I can holler at them, I can shock them. So I have a little bit more control. And it's like when I first started doing it, it just racked my nerves, like I say, because the dog is a mile and a half and I don't really know what they're doing. And even if I do know what they're doing, I don't have any means to like control them. So it's a totally different deal.
Yeah.
I think when I'm bear hunting and I don't get a rig, I'll go hit a mountain that I know bear on and I'll free cast. I'll let them go. And I don't really worry about them till they get out there. I'm usually within a couple square mile of this, say, a mountain where I want to run. I'll get out there and I'll watch them on my GPS and they get within a half mile out and they start working that mountain because I got reservation where I hunt. So once they break that point where I can't physically stomp the throttle and beat them to the reservation line, but that's kind of how I free cast for bear is I don't get a rig. And they know because I've hunted these mountains before and those dogs know when I hit this one mountain, they go the same way every time because they've caught so many bear on that side of the mountain.
They know where to go look. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They run that.
Dogs totally learn that. Like
they're GPS'd in their brain.
There's places that we hunt that we catch a lot of pigs and we can turn dogs loose a mile from there and they will go straight to that creek bottom. Like they know where they're at. They know where they've found pigs or bears before.
Yep. And to be honest, everybody says, "Oh, that GPS route." I learned more when I first got my GPS because when you first get your GPS, you watch it. You watch it all the time. But I learned more of how my dogs actually worked, how they would backtrack their own trail. When they were done,
doing what?
Yeah.
When I got my first Garmin, I had a ranking at my kennels where I had what I thought was like lead dog, going down the line. And when I first got that Garmin and kind of learned it and learned how to watch it, it was pretty quick. Like within a couple weeks, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like this dog that I thought was the leader is not the leader. It was my number, in my mind, it was my number 3 dog that was doing 90% of the work. So, I mean, it's a tool. I mean, it's a tool I try to lean on less these days. I typically try to like send dogs and then put my Garmin up, and just pick it up whenever things are getting heated, because there came to a point like so my ex-wife, she wasn't a hunter. In 20-something years, she went hunting with me twice. The last time she went hunting with us was like we were in the Garmin era. And we caught pigs that night, but like the next day, like we were talking about it and she was like, it was kind of boring. I'm like, what are you talking about? We caught like 4 pigs. And she goes, it was like you guys were playing a video game. She goes, you guys were just like looking at those Garmins all night long. And it kind of like, it struck a chord with me. I was like, oh shit. Like she is as an outsider, she's 100% right. Like, we're relying too much on these Garmin. So like from that point forward, and I don't always adhere to it because it's hard not to, but I give it a college try to put that thing away.
I honestly try to not look at it all day. I mean, I don't want to. Now, when I went hunting with Cody and those guys in Oklahoma, I mean, they got those Garmins and they got that big, what do you call it? That big screen thing.
Drive track.
He's got the great big one. And man, I mean, it's just like watching a television show or whatever. And
I mean, I've got to
there and watch that.
I've got a drive track. We don't hardly ever use it. The only time we really use it, and it does come in handy. So like if we're taking guys who don't have dogs, like just some dudes who's like, yeah, they want to go with us. They don't have dogs. They've never been hog hunting. We'll throw that drive track up on the dash. Because without that, they're just sitting over here. And we're looking at screens that they can't see. But like when you put that drive track up there, those guys kind of feel like they're a part of the hunt a little bit more because they can see what the dogs are doing. So we use it like that. But if we don't have somebody like that with us, we don't typically use it.
I mean, if I'm in the buggy, I mean, I had one of the little ones and I would use it, just driving down, casting the dogs down a road or down a hedgerow or whatever. And I can look at it and see where all the dogs are and everything.
Yeah, I had to learn to stop using it like that because, like, one night we was hunting. It happened more than one night. It happened a few nights. We had that drive track on the dash, and I'm driving, and we're trying to get to dogs, and I'm hauling ass down a dirt road, and I'm not looking at the road. I'm looking at this drive track, and people in the passenger seat and the back seat are screaming at me because I'm halfway in the ditch because I'm not paying attention where I'm going. Well, somebody just said that they would call free casting
gamble casting.
And that's kind of part of it. I mean, that is like, to me, like, I mean, we're not pulling up and free casting at a place where we think dogs have a limited chance to strike. I mean, we're trying to set them up in a good spot, but it kind of is gamble. And that's kind of the part I like about it,
Yeah. But isn't that dependent on the handle you have on your dogs too?
I mean, I don't have much handle on my dogs.
Just a different style of hunting.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, typically, like, to get dogs to truly, truly, like, free cast, like, with no limits in their brain, they feel no need to check back in. They just go hunt. So, like, when I'm training young dogs in that style, which we don't totally hunt that style as much nowadays as we used to. So I limit handle, like, greatly. Like, I'm not I'll put a handle on a dog after they're already free casting the way that I want. I won't do it before because I've kind of learned that if I put that handle on them before, then I have a hard time getting them to free cast totally free the way that I want them to.
So, I mean, you never like cold trailing a hog. I mean, you're just sending them out there and they find the hogs and they go.
I mean, we cold trail a little bit. I mean, the problem with cold trailing hogs is that a hog moves so much. Probably kind of like a lion, I would guess. I've never lion hunted.
Or like a bear.
Yeah, I mean, you can. So, like, I hunt hounds some, which will cold trail a little bit, but I don't want like a total cold trail dog because they could get on a cold trail that lasts 14 hours, before they even get within, real striking distance. And I don't want that. I mean, typically in hog hunting, we're striking fairly hot tracks.
Well, I think, I mean, you go into an area and you're going to hog hunt. I mean, how many hogs will you have within a 10 square mile area?
Oh, I mean, you guys come from a bigger country than we do. So 10 square miles is like huge to us. I mean, in a 10 square mile of like where we typically hunt, there might be 500 hogs.
Well, see, and if we go into a 10 square mile area, we might have one lion that walked through there 2 days ago.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so we got a cold trail, to figure out where he's going or what's going on. If
and that's the deal.
Where you can pick him up tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the deal.
Right.
Like,
am I right, Benny? We got to get Benny in here, even though he's got that green. That's hard to look at him. I know. I'm glad you don't have a good camera. Oh, shit.
I mean, that's the deal, though. Like, it's easy to like cast judgment, on people or dogs, but it just comes down to like what you're doing and where you're at.
Exactly. I mean,
what works for
we
you?
we don't need a cold
Exactly.
trail dog.
no, and
Like
I
if-
wouldn't want one if I was hunting like you either.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Trail a 2-day-old hog track when there's 500 of them in the area.
Well, that's
That
like
would be
bear.
dumb.
The same as bear. You don't want to. I don't like trailing cold, but that stupid dog of mine, Dirty, will trail a 3-day-old bear, and I'm like, that thing could be 200 miles away.
And we
I
kind
don't
of
want to
talked
sit
about
there
it.
all day.
We kind of talked about it one of the times we were talking, but like when I went to New Mexico bear hunting with Chris Powell, that's what I had in my mind. Like, I want to like strike a cold trail and like run this thing for 36 hours and then finally catch it, And it ended up just being pretty much like all gun.
Just my guy. Yeah.
I was like, that's not what I want. I want something hard.
You need to come out and go lion hunting. That's what you need.
Lion. Mhm.
Dry ground
Yeah.
lion hunting on a mule. You'll like
Oh,
that.
oh,
Go out
yeah.
and Ben Lilly it.
I mean, to me, that's the pinnacle. I mean, that's what I've always.
Come out. I got an extra mule now. Come out and we'll go.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
And you better be careful because I'm liable to show up at your
I
door.
don't.
Hey, you could go to New Mexico. You go to Arizona. Just take a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want that, like, when I think lion hunting, even more than bear hunting, like when and like I said, I've never done it, so I'm not. It's just the idea I have in my mind. But like, I want to cold trail some lion and ride on mules for 3 days, and it just be hard as hell, and then finally get it.
He's a Ben Lilly fan, though. He's a Ben Lilly fan.
And camp where you where you end up, and that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Take a pack mule. Yeah.
Go back 168 years there, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good segue. I mean, that is, and that's where that's where I get that like idea in my mind is from Ben Lilly, because like I idolize, maybe wrongly, but it's like romantic. To me, it's romantic. Like, that's what I want to do.
That's romantic. Exactly.
It's all a segue, because you look at our modern day, how the hounds are trained today. And then you go back to Ben Lilly, where he just was a hound. He slept in a tree. They caught him in ditches with 20 dogs around him. Like, it's the real deal. And there's a lot of controversy where there's some people that just don't like him, say he was, but even Ben Lilly said that his shadow's bigger than he is.
Well, and a lot of the ranchers, I mean, I've heard stories that, Ben Lilly he got paid. If he caught a lion on your ranch, then he got paid for that lion. I heard that he might take the same lion and take it to different ranches and collect on it from different people.
Well, the rancher should have kept the leg.
I've heard that. I don't know that I believe that. Like,
he was a real religious man. I mean,
well, he was about his character. He was about his character, though.
He had a very strong, like, moral compass. Like, I've heard those same stories, Brett, and I'm not an expert, but they kind of go against everything that everything else that I've heard about him. Like, I personally can't see him doing that, because Ben wasn't really concerned with money that much. Ben was a wealthy man.
He sent it all back to his wife, didn't he?
A lot of it. I mean, he lost a lot of his money in the bank failures. In 1929 and 1930, he lost a ton, because that was before the federal government insured those banks. He lost a bunch. But Ben really wasn't. I mean, Ben was getting, depending on the time frame, but he was getting between $75 and $100 for a bear or a mountain lion. And in 19 teens to 1930s, that was a lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah.
A lot of money. And he didn't really have use for money. So like I say,
hard to say, yeah.
It's hard to say.
I need to get you. I started to do that. I need to make a folder and put all those newspaper clippings.
Oh, I wish you would.
Yeah, because I got this. It's like a hobby of mine that I like to look up on these old newspapers. Like I got all the from 1900 to 1940 or something like that. A lot of stories on him. A lot of things.
Do you think he had to train his hounds, or do you think once he was going, he just threw another dog in?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think that. Because I've of course seen that, and I know you guys have as well. Like those first dogs are the hardest to get, and then once you get some dogs that are running right, throwing young dogs in is usually. I mean, it's nothing.
It actually makes you a little lazy. It makes you a little lazy because.
I mean, you got to think. I mean, he was hunting. I mean,
every day.
Yeah,
except Sunday.
Except Sunday. But like me at least, I can speak for myself. But we're hunting. I don't hunt near as much as I used to. Trying to change that, but even when I was hunting a lot, it was 3 nights a week. If you're hunting six days a week, that's how you make hounds.
It is.
And he's not just driving around hunting. That guy was walking miles, counties, states.
I mean,
they said he had a little shuffle trot that he could get in and really cover the country and do it all night long.
Yeah. Did we talk about it? I guess it probably don't matter because it was towards the end of a super long podcast, but I can't. My memory's terrible, but
we started talking about it a little bit, but talk about it again.
Yeah. So I think it was probably in the 60s they started doing these like ultra marathons. I don't even know how many miles they are, but they're crazy. I mean, it's crazy amount of miles. So they had one. It was up north somewhere, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, somewhere up in there. So this farmer, who's not a runner, I mean, he's literally just a farmer. He shows up and enters this ultra marathon. So kind of at the beginning of that kind of sport or whatever. And he just shows up dressed like he's getting ready to go farming. Like he's got his work boots on, and he wins this ultra marathon by a huge, a huge degree. But he had from what I've read, he had a similar gait to Lilly. Everybody described it as this shuffle that was largely in his hips, and everybody was just blown away that this hick, beats all these professional athletes. And then that odd, and I've seen videos of it. It's a really odd walk. You wouldn't think to do it. And from that day forward, all those ultra marathoners started that. It's like a speed walk, they call it.
Now be honest with us. After you've seen that, did you go and try to do it?
No, I didn't.
No. Oh, you wouldn't admit to it if he did.
I'm not into. I get my exercise chasing pigs.
I was gonna say my mule's got a real nice shuffle walk too.
It doesn't wear you out a bit.
Not at all.
And Lilly didn't ride mules or nothing too much.
Very rarely.
I seen a picture of him on a regular jackass somewhere. I forget. I got a book here. I think it was.
He would ride a burro every once in a while, but he was largely philosophically against
riding an animal.
Riding an animal. He mostly walked. He would ride one every once in a while, but it was pretty rare.
I don't know. I've seen him.
I think my favorite story is when I think it was Roosevelt, where he loses his watch.
Yeah, what book's that in, Brett? I've seen that.
This
picture.
Is Ben Lilly Tales.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Carmony.
Tell some more about old Lilly.
Oh, I mean, where do you start?
I know.
They say he showed up at somebody's house. He wouldn't go inside. and he wouldn't stay inside. But if they fed him, he would eat, just bloat himself, and then sit outside under a tree, and then
Yeah,
for a day or two.
they say he wouldn't hardly sleep inside a house. He said it was bad for you. And so when he ate, but like when he ate, he wouldn't mix foods.
Oh,
So like
really?
so like if somebody had fried catfish and potatoes and whatever, he would just pick one thing. He said you weren't supposed to mix food, so he would just gorge himself on catfish or potatoes or beef or deer or whatever, but he wouldn't, like we don't think it's a meal unless we mix 3 or 4 different things. He wouldn't do that. And he also said if he ate beef. Yeah, he's on that one.
I knew I'd seen that picture somewhere.
There's so many different editions of those, of those books that they don't all have the same pictures in them. The text is the same, but they don't have the same pictures.
Oh, here you go. Let me Lilly sometimes rode a burro or a mule between hunting camps, but once in the game country, he usually hunted on foot.
Well, and he did that because he said that if you were horseback, Lilly didn't have very good eyes. And he said if he was horseback, he couldn't read the tracks on the ground as well. And that was one of the reasons he liked to hunt off foot.
And as many miles as he walked, I always go back to he probably had some dirty old hard leather sole shoes.
Ed even looks like that guy.
I do. I think he came through Oklahoma.
Visited one of your relatives.
Yeah,
that was when he his morals kind of slipped a little bit.
Hey, it's been a while back, and I don't remember where I found it. Did you guys see? I put it on Facebook. It's been months ago, but I found a picture of Lilly. He was in a town, and he was on a porch to like a old building, and there was like, I can't remember, 2 or 3 like women kind of standing on the porch with him, and the caption for the picture said Lilly and some of his women friends. Yeah, I bet they were.
That's pretty cool.
I've enjoyed it. I got to get some stuff done before I hit the sack. You guys have a good evening.
Benny, don't run off.
I'll be on the side.
He's going to run off.
Yes.
Looks like the sun's still up.
I'm going to have to be leaving here in a minute, too. My wife already sent me a message.
Dinner time.
Yeah, that's what she wrote.
Blackbeard says, who has some hounds that are confirmed Lilly blood? I don't know if anybody. There's a couple people that claim it.
But I think I got a pedigree here somewhere that some of those dogs I have, I mean, like, it's so diluted that there's nothing there, but they claim they went back. They even say, it says Lilly. I can't find that. I don't even know where that would be.
Where did his dogs even come from? Does anybody know?
I mean, from what I've like studied and read, I mean, he walked literally from Alabama to New Mexico, and it wasn't a straight line. But from like what I've studied, he would often leave dogs at people's houses. So like if he was passing through an area and there was a hound hunter and maybe he had a pregnant bitch or whatever, he might drop that jip off at somebody's house that he trusted, and it would tell them, these are your dogs, keep them, do whatever you want. But if I come back through the area, I get to pick one out. So he kind of placed dogs throughout the country that he could go back and get from.
I heard that he would pick some up at the pound too and put them in with his, just take them with him.
Yeah, I've heard that. And that's kind of the big disappointment with the Lilly books that are out there, they kind
You
of
know, if he got
focus on
short,
they focus on the hunting stories and not that much of like the lineage of the dogs or the dogs themselves. I mean, at least when I read them, that's where I
Yeah.
come up feeling empty.
I'm trying to find that picture you mentioned.
Which one's that?
The one with the girls.
Yeah.
Can't find it.
But I mean,
Anyway.
it goes back to that.
Anyways.
It goes back to that hunting
we're all
6
looking
days a week. If you're hunting 6 days a week, you can polish a turd, to look amazing.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
just because somebody has some dogs that might go back to Ben Lilly, which if I found somebody who had some dogs that on paper went back to Ben Lilly, I'd bust my wallet out just because.
They are here in the mountains of New Mexico here, where he was. They claim anyway. I think probably Clay Henderson and the Welties and all those people up there, Terrell Shelley. I'm sure, but how many generations back would that be? So far back that and I'm sure they didn't have enough of them to keep the line, fairly pure.
Oh no, I mean, you're talking 100 years or more. So of course they're gonna be outcrossing a bunch into it. So it's not gonna be the same thing.
But I know I had a paper here somewhere that had some generations back, and it said Lilly blood in it. And now whether that's somebody, like my grandpa always said, paper will sit still. You can write anything on it. Yeah. So who knows for sure?
I mean, it'd be cool. Like I say, if somebody busted out some puppies and had some paper that looked halfway legitimate, I'd probably pounce on it. But I mean, I would know that,
Yeah.
And how long did his dogs last when you're hunting 6 days a week, day after day after, after day after day? Those feet, he didn't stop. So his feet were probably look like hooves. Those dogs' feet, I bet you they were tough.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, so in you guys' country, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Montana, a lot of those hound hunters, they're thinking about feet. Like they're looking for tough, dogs that got tough feet. Come from lines of dogs that got tough feet. Here in the South, that doesn't really come into play very often. And once again, it's just like geographical. I mean, we have dogs. I mean, we'll blow dogs' pads out, when we're hunting hard. But it's not as big a factor as where you guys are at and where he was at towards the end of his life. So yeah, I mean, those dogs that are soft-footed, they're gonna go by the wayside, kind of like natural selection, with the man in there. But yeah, you can bet those dogs had tough feet.
I don't know. Do you know, Chris? I don't know if Dale Lee ever hunted with Ben Lilly. I don't know if they ever crossed paths.
I thought there were some stories where he came into camp or something.
No, then as far as I know, that Dale was from a younger generation. They never hunted together. Dale Lee met Ben Lilly at the end of Ben's life. Like they interacted, but not in a hunting scenario. Dale had great respect one of us for Ben.
I bet.
Yeah, it'd be like one of us meeting Dale Lee when we were kids, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Dale knew, he knew. I mean, Ben had a legend already around him, so he knew that legend, but he didn't meet him. I think Brett's probably more up on this than I am, but I think when Dale met Ben had kind of already lost his mind, like couldn't hold much of a conversation.
I don't know. I know that they said that when Ben Lilly was there in Silver City at the rest home or wherever it was he was at, that they said he'd say, "Look, there's a lion in the tree," and he said crazy stuff all the time. He'd lost his marbles.
Yeah, he lost it there at the end.
Well, I mean, just how he ran and how he did and what he done today would be considered a mental illness. Leaving his family for the whole
I
chicken
bet
hawk story.
I bet he was
Great.
crazy. I bet he was
Oh,
crazy all
yeah.
along. I think you have to be crazy
Oh,
to
yeah.
live that lifestyle.
100% that Ben was a little bit crazy his whole life. 100%. He was odd. I mean, he was odd in 1890.
Yep, exactly.
He was a different. He was a throwback. I mean, people often say he was the last mountain man, but I mean, he was well after the mountain man period had expired. But I think a lot of that just comes back to what you're saying, Brett. Like, just to do what he did, your brain has to be a little bit off.
And his wife was probably meaner in hell. If I'd still been married to my first wife, I might have become a Ben Lilly.
Well, when you're gone for 2 years, and you come back and say the chicken hawk just kept flying.
Yeah, you don't miss her. You say, I just got to keep going. This is easy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Ben tried. Ben tried hard to like fit into society's mold of husband, wife, family man, but it just didn't. It didn't suit him, and that's where a lot of people talk down on Ben, like, oh, he abandoned his kids and this and that.
Didn't he send money back?
He sent money back his whole life.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, like, the way Ben was wired, he didn't really have a choice in it. Like, he was not cut out for farming and family life, and he had to get away from it. He didn't have a choice. He had to get away from it. But he didn't abandon his kids. He wrote letters to them his whole life. He sent them money because, I mean, kind of goes back to, like, he didn't really care about money. So when he got money, all he was concerned about was having enough money to go to the next hunt, and anything that was left over, he didn't care about that. So he would send it back to his wives and his kids.
And like
Well, all
Dale
those
Lee,
people-
he was only married for a little while, I think. And and he died broke, poor, a poor man.
I think it's tough, even today. Like,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's tough for a guy who is a houndsman to kind of fit into society's mold of, like, what a guy is supposed to be now. And Ben was feeling that, 140 years ago.
Did you put that one up that guy who says I'm a beggar wrote?
What is it?
In the comments, said Ben walked up to Dale's truck and told him which dog was the best hound, and he was right. I believe that's the only interaction they had. I heard that. I remember hearing that.
Yeah, I've heard
Where did
that.
we just heard that, right?
Did we just hear that?
Did you talk about
Yeah, I've heard that.
Maybe last time.
Where Dale said, he didn't know those dogs from Adam, never hunted, with them obviously before, and like walked up and just like picked the number one dog out, just at sight and like short.
Just said that's your best. That's your best dog right there.
And that's that. I mean, it might sound kind of weird, but a lot of like really high level dog men can kind of do that.
Oh, I bet they can. They know what a good one looks like.
Oh, I'm sure by the time Dale was older, in his age, he knew exactly which dog was a good dog.
Gentlemen, it was fun. Sorry, I wish I could stay.
What do you got to go do?
I got to go eat.
Gotta go be a husband.
Oh, man. Ben could go 3 or 4 days without eating.
I just was reading that.
Ben's a hell of a lot tougher than I am.
Ben ain't like a dog or like a wolf.
Cornmeal, didn't he? Or all the time?
Yeah.
He would pack. Yeah, like sometimes he would in his pack. I say pack. It wasn't really a pack. It's more like a purse. But he would put cornmeal in it, And sometimes he would just take ears of corn. So like if he went through a cornfield, he would just pick ears of field corn and put in his pack.
Oh, yeah.
And he wouldn't even cook it. He would just eat field corn off the cob and feed it to his dogs if he had to.
And then when if you ate like that and your dogs ate like that, you might be a little bit better at catching stuff.
I mean, I really think there is something to that. So like we do it with all our dogs, but like younger dogs more especially. Like, so we don't kill a whole lot of pigs. We kill pigs, but not that often. But like if we do kill a pig, yeah, those dogs all get right there where we kill it. Those dogs all get
Right then
some food from that pig. And I honestly think that they see the fruit of their labor. Like I really think it does help in making a dog.
I bet it. Yeah, eat. I'm sure it does. It makes it.
I'm sure that happened as well with Ben Lilly. He killed lots of deer and he killed lots of bear and lion. You know, they say he killed 342 lion or something, but in the end it was 600 to 1,000.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know the numbers, but it was up there.
I think on record he killed.
Documented.
Yeah, 210 bear and 300.
I know there's that
326 or 426.
That I'd like to find that cave where they dug up. He had left that was it in a coffee can or a jar? That thing that where he buried his dog. Said his dog was.
He had one. Yeah, I don't remember the dog's name, but he had one dog that he was particularly fond of. That's the dog you're talking about.
And he said, was this dog? It said so and so was responsible for so many lions and so many bears or something like that.
I just seen that.
Yeah, it'll take me forever to probably find it.
But yeah, I mean, towards the end of Ben's life, not even really the end, like the middle to the end, he, was getting paid a bounty on varmints, but then he was also getting like a monthly check from what government entity was it? It's like a federal government entity. I can't remember that, but something to do with wildlife. So they were paying him a monthly allotment just because he was hunting predators. And then so if he killed the bear, he would take the measurements on the bear, and write that down, and they would catch up with him at some point, and he would give him his notebooks, kind of like doing like surveys on predators at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Ben was not short of money.
No, I don't think he was short of money. I don't think he was short of food. I think if he wanted to kill something out there, he could eat. He definitely knew how to survive, make it.
Yeah, I mean, just even not talking about Lilly, just in general, like woodsmen from that time period have to like cast a huge shadow on woodsmen today. I mean, there was cases where he was going hungry. I mean, there's accounts of him like finding like where a lion had killed a cow, who knows how many days before, and he would eat. He would camp out by that dead cow and eat it.
Yeah, that's what the Shelleys said, that they were in that country same time he was, and they said that they rode over a hill one time and Ben Lilly him and his hounds were eating on an old cow.
I guess if you cook it long enough, you're all right.
I doubt he cooked it very much.
You're probably right.
I bet he just scorched it.
Okay. Yeah. In the summer of 1916, Ben Lilly signed up with the Bureau of Biological Survey as a hunter for the agency's new Predator Control Division. Mountain lions were his specialty, and his hunting territory was southwestern New Mexico and Greenlee County in southeastern Arizona. Program supervisors required the government hunters to keep a record of their kills and diaries. The following account, Lilly's first attempt in keeping a diary, is a discussion of the 8 lion kills he made from June to September 1916. 2 small kittens were captured alive after the mother was killed, bringing the number of lions he removed from the range to 10. Ben Lilly hunted for the Biological Survey on a part-time basis and was paid for about 30 months of work before being discharged from the organization in August of 1920. Records show he was credited with killing 55 mountain lions and 12 bears during this time.
Yeah, there's a picture from around that time period, I think. And I believe Ben was in Silver City and he was getting up in age, and he had a lion kitten with him that he kind of kept as a pet.
That thing says, here lies old so-and-so.
Is that the dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Old Crux or Crook, something. I can't remember.
I'm thinking Crutch or something.
Yeah,
Crutch. I think it is Crutch.
Something.
I think it is.
I can't
Crutch.
find it. I know I should have it somewhere.
I think there's a YouTube where a guy goes up there and it says he's responsible for 210 bears or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something wild like that, huh?
You know that had to be a hell of a dog for him to like single it out,
and be that fond of it. Exactly.
Yeah. Because I mean, to Ben, like, I mean, those dogs were strictly tools, So it's not for him to like.
If you think about it, and I go through it here. I bring my dogs down for the winter, and they're tied up all around my trailer. Now they're up north, and I have nobody here, and it's lonely. Like when you just have your dogs, that's all he had was his dogs.
Oh yeah,
all day, every day. He slept with them. He ate with them. Like,
Crook.
Did you find?
Okay, I knew I could find it. It's driving me crazy.
Crook. Well, did he bury a dog somewhere? PP break.
Here lies Crook, a bear and lion dog that helped kill 210 bear and 426 lions since 1914.
Wonder how old that dog was.
An epitaph that Ben Lilly wrote on the box in which he buried one of his most prized hounds in 1925 near Sapio Creek, New Mexico, read, "Here lies Crook, a bear and lion hound or lion dog that helped kill 210 bear and 426 lion." Yeah, but then they have this written after that. He was known many times to fight and dispatch in hand-to-hand combat bear and cougars using a self-made custom Bowie knife. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration.
I know he had a knife that he killed. He killed his first bear with a knife, right?
Any of these books about Ben Lilly, any count? I wonder what he means. Are they any good?
I don't know. Probably any good. They're all good.
Yeah, this is a good book. It's Ben Lilly's Tales of Bears and Lion Hounds.
Legend of Ben Lilly.
Neil Carmody. You should. I have a really good look at that one. I bet you guys haven't seen that one. Hunting grizzlies, black bear, and lions big time on the old ranches by Evans.
That's not about Ben Lilly, is it?
No, but I think they talk about Ben Lilly in it.
Yeah.
Because I have it here. Slash Ranch Hounds. Rogues and Run Ollie Barney.
There's a lot of good books out there. I tell you what.
We will. Oh, sorry.
But one of these. You ever read that book or heard of that book, Wild Sports or what is it? I got it right here. It's by Frederick Gerstaker. This book right here.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do have that.
That's a good book.
I don't remember. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I
You
can
can
read a book.
you can get it on Amazon like Kindle wise for 99 cents. But it's a journal. It's basically from this Frederick Gerstaker. It is such a good. I mean, this is guys going into caves with candles to kill bears or lions. Him and a friend go in a cave.
Yeah, I'm
And,
pretty sure I
you
have
know,
read that.
Well, I know I found out about it on the Bear Grease Render, and he had read a chapter out of it. And he read the chapter where they shot a bear. The bear didn't die. Mean bear. The bear starts killing dogs. They don't have time to reload. So they go in with knives. And
Yeah.
Frederick wakes up. His friend's dead. 4 dogs are dead. You know, and for anybody who says like dog hunting ain't like old school, they were running with the Indians that had dogs too. So the Indians were using dogs even back then, running those bear lines. You know,
Well,
but he wakes up. His shoulder, he got messed up. I think the bear knocked him out before he died. The bear was dead there too. Bear, his friend, 4 dogs. He wakes up and he barely move his arm. I think he got shredded a little bit.
While I was gone, did you guys figure out that dog's name?
Crook.
Crooks?
Right, Brett?
Crook. Oh, yeah, Crook.
Crook.
Yeah.
19,
let me pull it up again. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, like what would you pay for that dog?
Jeez.
Time Machine. Yeah, Time Machine pops up and that dog's available for auction. Like what would be your top dollar?
I think you could sell just to watch the dog, just to watch that dog work, just to see how it was trained, how he handled it. Because handling, I bet you Ben Lilly had a great handle on his dogs. I don't think he just let him run wild because.
Oh no, of course not. I mean, a handle comes.
You know, he would tie the one to his belt because he couldn't hear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dog's name was Ears.
200. You know what's kind of amazing about that is it was just 210 bear and 426 lion. I would have swore it would have been more bear than lion. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah,
but it says again that 426 is kind of a false number. That everybody kind of says it's going to be like 600 to 1,000. Maybe that's what he claimed.
You don't really know how to take all that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there was that. What was that? What was that black guy's name from?
Colt.
George.
Colt.
Oh,
yeah.
Hoyer.
Coulter.
That hunted with the president down at that.
Yeah, he did.
I think Ben Lilly was with them too. I think they met each other, didn't they?
I think that was on different. I think that was on different hunts. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
I think he's a Coulter or something. I think he's attributed more bear and mountain lion.
Where's all of our people? All of our people usually throw in comments and tell us who it is.
Bear Grease did a thing on him.
Hoyer.
Colt Hoyer. We were close. I was thinking Colt Hoyer.
Holt.
Yeah, I was being backwards.
I was being dyslexic there for a minute.
Yeah, we all were. I think he's attributed with more predator kills than Ben, but
that's a good story too.
Yeah, I mean he was a hell of a hunter as well.
Man,
I think he started out at what, 10 years old, hunting with the master kind of deal, and had a shotgun. He'd go out and kill for if I remember right.
I don't really remember.
Yeah, Bear Grease. If you go to Bear Grease podcast on Meat Eater, shameless free plug. He did one on him. Yeah.
He's an interesting dude, and that's what I think we were talking about last time. But so there's a bunch of people like you bring up Ben, and they're like, "Oh, Holt was a way better houndsman than him." He may have been, like history doesn't always acknowledge the best dude.
No,
lots of times Ben got famous because of his oddities. That's what draws people in is he was interested. It's not that he was the best houndsman ever. I would say he's up there.
I think he was mysterious.
Yeah, he's
He's just
mysterious and kind of odd, and that kind of draws us in because we're like,
ex-
what is going on here?
eccentric
Oh, definitely eccentric.
with his things that, like wouldn't hunt on Sunday, pulled everything. Just a different sort. And they said that when you got around him, he would talk your leg off. That he was really liked to talk.
Sometimes.
Well, that's because he didn't have no one to talk to, just his dogs. And I bet you his dogs got an earful. He probably talked to his dogs like humans, just walking through.
I found an article a few months back. It was from like an old magazine from, I think the magazine came out in the late 30s to maybe like mid 40s, I think. And it was a guy who was an outdoors writer at the end of Lily's life, and his editor sent him to New Mexico to write a story about bear and lion hunting. So as soon as he gets to New Mexico, he doesn't know anything. He's asking around, and they're like, "Oh, you need to go find." At that point, they called him Old Man Lilly. So this is at the tail end of Lily's life. So he finds Ben Lilly. At this point, Ben had totally lost his mind, didn't even own any dogs. And Ben's like, "Yeah, I'll take you hunting." But he wouldn't talk to this guy. And that's kind of that's a big part of the article, is like this guy's writing it. It's like, this dude just takes off into the woods, and I start following him. And he's like, he won't talk to me. And he's like, we walk all day, make camp. He said they walked all day and found a cave, and then Lily went in the cave, and it was one of his caves had a stash in it of food. And he said Ben cooked some food out of the stash that he had in his cave, but he wouldn't talk to him. And then the next day, Ben found a lion track and then found a fresh deer kill. And he said that Ben just started carving on this deer, stick it in his sack, and then took off walking. But kind of what I was getting at is, so this guy was thinking the whole time, he's like, is this dude going to take me out here and kill me? Like, this dude's crazy. And but they found Ben tracked this lion, and that's what he's kind of saying through the thing. He's like, he didn't have any dogs, but he's like, this guy was acting like a dog. Like, he was sniffing the ground and sniffing bushes, and they said at times he was just walking, and at other times he was running. And he's like, we found him.
Did he do it? Did he do it to mess with these guys?
No, I mean, I think at this point in his life, he was so far gone, he wasn't messing with anybody. I mean, he was just doing his thing, and this guy was kind of along for the ride. But that's kind of what I'm getting at. The dude he was a wild animal. He could do it with dogs, without dogs,
Yeah, he was the best dog he had.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Guys, I really better go. Thank you, though. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Thanks, Ed, Chris.
All right, go eat your beans. What are you eating for dinner?
I have no idea. I don't go there. But I don't have very far to go to get to the house now. It's just like 150 yards down the road here.
That's why Brett can jump on, and he has a buggy to take him there.
I'm walking tonight.
Oh, crap.
No, I got my truck out here.
You should just eat cornmeal tonight.
I went and met a guy today that's going to be making, he's a saddle maker, boots. He makes boots. He makes everything. So I went up there and seen him, talked to him. Really, really nice guy. He bought out James Morse, and James Morse is the guy that used to build a bunch of stuff for me. And I went up there and seen him, and he's going to be making me some stuff. So watch on my channel. I should say his name. I can't remember it. Walker, Saddlery, something like that.
He's going to make you some mule saddles.
No, I got the saddle that I had made the way I wanted it made. And he is going to like a mule halter. I want a headstall halter made that snaps behind the ears, have a halter, but still has a brow band. But then, where the nose band goes around and the rings are right here, and then your lead rope goes underneath. Well, up above those rings, you sew another ring into it, and then you have your bits made with just little leather thongs on them with a snap, and then you can instead of having all that bulk on your mule's head, you can just snap your bit, put your bit in your mule's mouth and just snap it to those rings. And then when you take it off, you take it down. And I want two of those made for me. And then I don't know if you can see, I got all these scars on my arms, and a lot of that is from them burning off those cancers off of me, but also from riding those mules through the brush and going like that. Yeah. So he's going to make me some leather cuffs like the old cowboys used to wear.
Yeah, those are so handy.
Yeah, to protect my arms, because you know how it is when you're riding one of those mules and you're bushwhacking through there and you're going through the brush. You stick your arm up like that, protect yourself. And,
yeah, I mean, they duck their head where they can get under it, but they're not thinking about you.
And then I call them. I got some. I'm going to have him make me another pair. I call them Pancho Villa chaps. They're really like leather gaiters that just come up, from up to your knee. And during the summertime, during the wintertime, I usually wear a pair of, not really chaps, but more like we always call them leggings, but they're made out of leather.
Yeah.
And during the summertime, they're too hot. Not shotguns, just they zip up the back. They're just a leather. But my dad always called them leggings. I call them leggings too. But they're chaps. And then, during the summertime, they're too hot. So just have those Pancho Villa chaps that just protect you from the knee down, because that's where you bust your shins on stuff.
I noticed you say chaps.
Yeah. What am I supposed
to say?
You say
chaps instead of chaps. I mean, that's more correct.
Is it? I don't know. Yeah. I didn't even know anybody said it any other way.
You say chaps with like an S.
No, it's a C.
Huh?
No, it's a C.
Like Charlotte.
Sounded like
Charlene.
Chaps, man. Chaps, and then you got chaps. Chaps. I didn't even know there was any other way.
So you're saying that with an S. That's the correct way.
I don't know. Speech. I probably have a speech impediment. I did when I was little. I can still remember. I couldn't say my L's. I would say "ooh," and that's when they taught me that. A friend of my sister's taught me how to look at lazy Linda run. I used to say "look at lazy Linda one."
My son.
Go ahead.
My son today, we went to McDonald's, got some ice cream, and the guy opens and he had a lisp. My son has a speech impediment like that too. Not a lisp, but his R's and L's, whatever.
Yeah.
And that guy come up. Here you go. You guys keep it real cool on this, this hot day. We go forward to get the ice cream. We paid for it, and he's all, "What's that guy talking about?" I'm all, "Man, you have no room to be talking, you little shit." I'm all, "You're one to talk."
Oh, that's funny.
But I guess if you're black, you can say the N-word, and if you talk funny, you can make fun of other people talk funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like so I can call myself a redheaded gringo. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody. Well, and you could call your mule a donkey, but not Chris. Not Chris.
Chris, he was trying to poke fun at me.
He started it right there.
Yeah.
When people call mules donkeys,
yeah, but he was from Indiana or somewhere like that. I just call him a damn Yankee anyway.
Yeah.
I call my mules donkeys, but no one else can.
I call mine a lot of names.
Oh boy. You better get in that house.
Yeah, I better go. Guys, thank you. That was fun. Yeah. I better go.
Next Monday.
Yes, sir.
Right.
We'll see you.
Oh, got any good Ben Lilly stories?
Oh man,
you put me on the spot there.
Anything you stuck out?
Well, you were talking.
One of my favorite stories is when was it Roosevelt who lost his watch, and Ben Lilly rubbed his mule's nose, let his dog smell it, and then took the one dog, went back, found the watch and came back. Like the dog was going to backtrack that mule, but I think Ben Lilly picked it up, put it in his pocket.
Probably.
And when he
I don't
said,
remember that.
"Hey,
Yeah.
you know, did you lose?" And then he did this little thing, went back, came back, probably went and took a nap for 30 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember that exact story, but Roosevelt was for sure like enamored with Lilly. Like when he got back, and Lilly cut out of that hunt pretty quick.
Yeah.
Uh, I think there was too many people there.
Too many high pollutant people.
Yeah, it was probably like overload for him. So he cut out of that hunt pretty quick, but he made a big impact on Roosevelt. And Roosevelt wrote about Lilly, like when he got back to Washington or whatever.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, you know. He was totally enamored with Lilly because he said he was like a wild animal of a man. But for sure, Lilly made a big impact on Roosevelt.
So you don't think Lilly had a little act going on some of this when he was running around people? You think that's just how he was?
What do you mean?
You know how some people, they're
Kinda
normal
playing.
people. They get around people and they act kind of silly, or they do something to make them think they're really crazy, and then later on, you might find out they just acted like that in front of people. Or do you think he was
No,
genuinely
no.
a wild man, loner, loved to be where he was? I think he loved to be where he was, but you don't think he like juiced it up a little bit, kind of an act
I don't.
almost? When
I don't think so.
that's just how
Like
he
I said,
was.
I could be wrong, but I don't. I really don't. I really don't think he played it up. I mean, even when they said, like, even when he was in town, like towards the end of his life, later part of his life, when he was, I mean, he kind of got famous during his life,
Yeah,
which is kind of rare. You know, usually that comes after. But they said, like, even during that time, like if he was in town, like he really wouldn't talk to adults, like, but he liked kids, you know. And they said if he was in town, that he would he would usually end up with a bunch of kids around him,
just
and
playing with kids.
he would kind of play it up with them. I mean, not exaggerating his persona, I don't think, but like I can kind of relate to it. Like I get along with kids. I get along with
Yeah,
kids and old men more than I get along with like people my own age.
yeah.
So I think maybe I understand a little bit of it. But yeah, I don't think it was an act. I mean, it'd be hard to keep that act up, you know, your whole
Well,
life.
and he wasn't really around people a lot. And I think you think so. You think people just it's because he was always out. So it's 90% in the woods, 10% in public that made him so famous.
Yeah, I mean, even during that
Because there
time,
was
like
mystery.
there was mystery there. Like even in that time period, you know, he was odd. So that kind of strikes a chord with people. We're like, I think we're just automatically kind of interested in odd people or odd behavior, which he definitely had. So yeah, I don't think it was an act. Like I say, it'd be hard to keep that act up. How old was Lilly
He's
when he died?
80,
Yeah, it'd be hard to keep
like
that up
80.
for 80 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he died in what, 36?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's that's a long time to live, just nonstop going.
Especially for that time. You got to think again for that time period. He was a
Yeah.
super old man for that time period.
Yeah.
He was
But
one of the,
it's not like he was in town eating crap. He was eating pretty much organic,
oh yeah, yeah.
He didn't drink coffee. He didn't smoke.
Didn't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
He led kind of a Puritan life. And like Brett was saying, he was super religious, but I mean, he kind of put his own spin on
His
some of
own
it.
terms.
Yeah, it wasn't even in his religious ideas. He wasn't in tune with his time period. He put his own mark on it was his own religion. It was Christianity, but he put his own spin on
it. Man, and there's not a whole lot on him either, is there? Just
Man, there really isn't.
like
You know,
encounters.
there really isn't.
For as famous as he was supposed to be.
Well, man, if you think about it, he spent, like you say, he spent 90% of his time in the middle of the woods with nobody but his dogs. So,
Yeah.
of course, there's not that many people who got a chance to witness him and write about it. So, yeah, a lot of it is speculation. And there's really only 2 books about him.
Yeah.
And between those 2 books, it really could just be one book. There's not a whole lot of information in one that there's not in the other, you know.
And there was nothing passed down, like relative wise. There's not.
Yeah, not that we know of.
You know, there's people that say, oh, yeah.
I think we were talking about that last time. Like, I mean, he's got
related,
children.
maybe, or he's kin, but
yeah, like we were talking about. I mean, he had children.
Somebody got to know if they're relative to Ben Lilly.
Yeah, you would think they would know. You would hope. But even his kids, they don't even know him that well.
Yeah. Maybe to them he was a crappy dad and abandoned them.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But that goes back to what we're talking about. Like, obviously, like, being a good parent is important. But he was kind of put in a situation where, I mean, he really had to kind of choose between himself and his kids. Like you put a reluctant. I mean, sometimes a dad leaving is the best thing he can do. You know. I mean, that's not fun to think about, but sometimes that is real.
No, I agree. As a private investigator, I agree, and it works on both sides. Sometimes a mother leaving, sometimes a father leaving.
Yeah.
Sometimes a relative adopting the kid is better.
So he wasn't really cut out for that. So yeah, if Lily would have just like choked it down and been like, "Screw it, I'm going to stay here and farm and neglect this huge other side of my personality," he wouldn't have been. If he stayed, he wouldn't have been a good dad, probably, because he wasn't like nurturing a big part of who he was. So it's easy to pass judgment, but
well, and he never came back for his kids when they're older and went with them. He didn't take them with him. You know what I mean? Or did he? I guess he could have, and we just never was written.
Not that I know of.
No,
I don't know of that. I don't think he did.
And a lot of people don't know he went to military school, ran away, blacksmith. Yeah. His uncle found him, put him to work as a farmer, I think it was.
Yeah, he ran away when he was like 12, I think it was, from military school, and just kind of like happenstance ran into his uncle, who he was named after. Vernon.
He was working at a blacksmith shop, right?
Yeah, and his uncle was named Vernon, and that's his middle name. And his uncle was a blacksmith, and his uncle kind of took him under his wing and like helped kind of train him as a blacksmith. And then his uncle, I can't remember, his uncle died. I can't remember what, but Lily ended up with his uncle's farm.
Yep.
And that was his first wife. And that ended
what happened to that farm?
He
sold. Did his wife take it over?
Well, he ran it for a number of years, and then he started. I don't remember how big it was, but it was fairly large. And farming wasn't paying the bills, so he started selling off portions of it, to pay his debt. But like when he left, he just left it to his wife. I mean, that's one thing. When he left, he just gave him everything.
There you go. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
but he had 2 wives, right?
Yeah, he got remarried after that. So like after he left his first wife, he I mean, like, the whole time he was farming, he was also trading in cattle a lot. A lot of people don't know that, but he was a cattleman.
Yeah.
And so when he left his first wife, he wandered, through the woods, but he was hunting with his hounds, but he was also driving cattle to market, sometimes on contract for other cattlemen, and sometimes he would buy cattle and then transport them to market and sell them for profit. But he kind of stayed in that general area, and then at some point, and it's kind of vague, at some point, somehow, he met another woman and married her.
Hmm.
And that didn't last long either. But he had kids. He had kids from both marriage.
It's like he had 10 miles of history and about 3 feet of it recorded, or that we have of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, and especially that early life. Like, there's a lot more history of his later life than his early life, because at that point he was known locally, but he wasn't like a nationwide phenomenon that he became later. But he did all kinds of things. I mean, and that's, like we were talking about his money, like he had a really ingrained like entrepreneurial sport or aspect of him. Like everything he did, he made money at, like I say, he dealt in cattle. He cut bee trees for a lot of years. And then he also hunted, for the meat market. So he would shoot game solely for the purpose of selling it, which was legal back then. He wasn't being an outlaw.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything he touched, he made money at it. If he had been like, if his brain had been a little bit different, like he would have been a very wealthy man, because he had that mindset to make money. He was good.
He could have lived like a king for sure.
Yeah, he just didn't care about it.
But he was living like a king in his own world.
Oh yeah, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do. What he wanted to do.
He's also one of the ones that said owning land makes you a slave, right?
Not just owning land, but just owning property.
Yeah.
Like you're a slave to the things you own. And like for the time period, that's a crazy
thought,
but he recognized that, that, I mean, because I kind of agree. Like you get you go buy a new truck and you got a note due on it and you got a mortgage.
You got a payments.
You're a slave. Like if you get mad, you can't quit your job because you'll lose it all. So it kind of is like it's a shackle. It's a burden.
Where was Where was it at? Property is a handicap to man. That's what he said.
Yeah. But he meant by handicap, he meant like, it's a shackle. It's a burden.
And that's a fact. That's a fact. The more you own, I'm pretty simple living. I got my house cheap. The only thing I've ever really bought, I bought my Toyota, my Tundra, but it's nice to have a car that will start every time you go out.
It is nice.
I think the only luxury I bought is a Harley, but I already paid it off. My house is crappy. It has a 2,400 square foot shop though, but I bought it for the shop, not the house. So I have other properties I needed to sell off and pay everything off, and I have no bills. Like I could pay, I think I'm $50,000 in debt at the most, which is nothing. If you've seen my yard, I could make probably, if I sold everything cheap, $500 a piece, I could make probably $250,000. That's how much crap I have in my yard.
I have no debt. Like I don't owe anybody anything. And I don't make crazy good money, but my whole life I've kind of had that philosophy where I would rather own a shitty truck and it be mine than owe the bank for a super nice one. So yeah, I mean, I own everything. So like, and it kind of really frees you. So I'm like, if I have a bad day at work or a bad week at work and I just get fed up and I'm like, screw this, I'm done. Like theoretically, I could just quit,
Yeah.
and just having that option in the back of my head, like makes work more doable.
Bearable.
Yeah, it's bearable because I know like if it gets so bad, like I could quit and I could cut enough firewood or whatever
Yeah.
to pay my.
It's one of the things. It's one of the things you want it to happen, and it will never happen because you want it to. If you didn't want to get fired or quit or whatever, you'd have to. But it's one of the things where you're like, go ahead, fire me. Or
I own my own business, so I'd have to fire myself. But just having that option available takes a huge load off.
Yeah.
Yep. Like when my kids were younger, they would go spend the night with friends or whatever. I'm talking like they was like 8, 9, 10. They'd come home and they'd be like, "Oh my God, Susie's rich. They got a swimming pool and 2 brand new 4-wheelers and a brand new boat and a brand new Yukon."
Lot of bills.
And I'm like, yeah, and as they get it now, as they're older. When they were younger, they're like, they saw all that like glitz, and I'm like, yeah, you don't realize Susie's mom and dad could lose their job and they could be homeless in 2 months.
Quick.
Like what we own isn't near as flashy as what they got, but we own it, and nobody's taking it.
Yep. No, I bought my house super cheap, so pay a little extra on the the mortgage on it, and actually I sold some other properties and just got this one pretty cheap, so I'm happy with it. 5 acres shop. But the same thing, people come to my kids would be like, oh, our yard's junky. I literally probably got 40, 50 vehicles in my yard. I got 5 deuce and a halves. I got a bunch
Deuce
of 60,
and a half what?
They're M211s, 1955 M211s.
Okay. Military vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one Rambo drove in First Blood and he jumped it?
I don't really remember.
But
I know what you're talking about. They're
kind of crazy. They all got
Kaiser?
they got the
Kaisers?
No, they got the GMC 300 straight or 302 6 in it, and they all got propane. They're propane. For the last 30 years, they've been propane. So when you pull those heads off, valve covers look like they're brand new engines.
Yeah, super
like
clean.
No carbon. Oh God, like brand new.
Yeah.
And they have the what is that? The Hydroglide. They have an automatic transmission with low range on one side, high range on the other, and then it has the REB kit installed in these, which is you can shift it manually, but it's an automatic. It's kind of cool. Old school 24 volt 6x6 full time 6x6. There's no in out on the transfer.
You don't have any Dodge Power Wagons, do you?
I do. I got a 48.
Do you really?
I do.
What shape's it in?
It's pretty good. I mean, I don't have the bed on it. I traded some cars for it, but I have the cab and I have all the running gear and everything. But the only way I would trade it for a 65 crew cab Dodge. And I really would rather have the 65 ton and a half Dodge, not the 3/4 ton or 1 ton. The bigger cab.
Where you're at, like rust isn't even an option.
Oh, there's no rust on it.
Yeah, those like Arizona, New Mexico trucks,
I just sold a 54 Chrysler Windsor it was like last year or 2 years ago. I had bought it for my ex-wife as a birthday present. Same thing. It had the hydrostatic in it or whatever. You have to use. It had a clutch. It's an automatic with a clutch.
Yeah.
You only use the clutch for first and reverse.
Yeah.
But it had the Spitfire 6-cylinder in it. And a 10-year-old girl bought it. Her dad came and got it, but she's going to fix it up. She wanted a car to start working on. And I even had the window air conditioner.
Yeah.
The the swamp cooler one. We put water in
Yeah.
it, and you pull the
Yeah.
cord, and it would dump the water.
Yeah, it's just like
So
it's not really an air conditioner. It's just water going over fins with the fan blowing.
the thing,
Right.
yeah. So you hang it in the window, and
Yeah.
it blows into the window because it has that cone on the front. Yeah.
You said you got the power wagon you have is a 48.
I think it's a 48. I'll have to send you a picture of it.
It's worth a few bucks.
It is, and I've had a couple guys want to trade, and I did find a 65 because I'm going to put it on a Cummins, a 65 Dodge 4-door. I'd rather have the 1.5 ton. I have 2 1.5 tons Dodge single cab 1.5 tons.
You want to put a crew cab Dodge 66 on a Cummins frame?
Well, I have a 66 on a Cummins frame right now, a short bed. And then I have a 62 Dodge short bed. I gave my son a 66 Dodge short bed. He put it on a 97 Cummins frame, cut it down, gonna put a Cummins in it. And then I have another 62 short bed body that I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. I got a lot of cars. I got a 75 short bed Dodge. I'm a Dodge guy.
Yeah.
I have a 73 extended cab short bed. I traded my son for some stuff.
Yeah,
Got a lot of projects.
Send me a picture of that 48 Power Wagon.
My uncle has one too.
Those crew cab Dodges, like Dodge was probably the first person to do the crew cab pickup.
I think they were.
Yeah.
And I think they had the 1.5 ton crew cab. Well, I know they did. That's what I want. I want the bigger cab because I would put it on my 2.5 frames, and then I put a Cummins in it.
Yeah.
I have a Cummins. I'm gonna put it. Yeah. What did this guy just say? This is true right here. Owning dogs make you a slave. Because I make good money with no bills, and I'm still broke.
Like I said, it wasn't the Barrett Jackson.
Yeah, I know.
Auction.
Well, we always get talking about trucks. Always. So it's going to be my first podcast. I started kind of a network, the Chris Watson Project, for other like podcasts, and I'm doing a big political one on the 1st or 2nd, July 1st or 2nd, with a couple guys that I had some stuff happen on my PI license, the Department of Public Safety, which is Highway Patrol. Someone made a complaint against me. First complaint I've ever had in my life, for one. I've been open my own license since 2008. And this guy's running for a district, whatever he's running for. And another guy's running for sheriff, and they made a complaint against me saying I was investigating them. So, and then with the DPS, they want all your records. They can get your records. And they called me and said, we sent me a letter, said I need your records. I said, I have no records. I didn't even know who these guys were. But on my private investigator, I'm going to do a live there with a couple guys, a lieutenant and a captain, I believe.
I would say those guys have a guilty conscience.
Well, they're going after this guy for one of them's just, I don't want to say too much because they're the kind of guys that'll sue you for anything. But the one is, I can post a link that Channel 12 News down here did a story on him, and it's over stolen valor. Said he was in Vietnam. He's not. Said he won ribbons. He don't. I think they're allegedly, I'll say allegedly, he forged his DD-214.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Most of those guys who were in that stuff for real don't talk about it. So usually the guys who are telling everybody they meet they were in Vietnam, Special Forces, whatever.
That's what he's Green Beret. He says he's Green Beret Special Forces.
Yeah, huge red flag because most of those guys who were in that do not want to talk about it.
Well, especially if you're running for a seat somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the Brigade of Green Berets, this guy said, Chris, turn him into Don. the group, it's a big group came after him, like the Brigade of Green Beret. I don't remember what they're called, but and they came after me because one of the girls did a story on him that works for me. She's a investigative journalist, but she also works for me. And then the guy running for sheriff over here, he works with me too. He's kind of my reserve investigator if I need somebody. So his opponent is the one that complained.
Yeah.
So
now you got to really make sure that guy don't get elected.
Oh, let me tell you, it's like the military. There's two people you don't mess with, and that's mechanics and supply. And me and I was a mechanic. I was 6'3" Sierra, and I tell you what, me and supply got in a dirty one time, to the point where I made him drive a 1970s deuce and a half from Vietnam for real, and kept his truck hidden, and he kept every part from me. So bad that the BC came in, the battalion commander, and said, "You guys are going to stop this right now."
Yeah.
So we had to like give each other a hug and get off of our high horses. So
Yeah.
I gave him his truck back, and all of a sudden my supplies show up on my parts. So, yeah. So it's just drama. What I was going with that is you don't mess with a private investigator either. So you shouldn't.
No. No.
That's why I kind of started this AWDA, the Arizona Working Dog Alliance, because
yeah, we need to talk about that.
Yeah, I gotta get with you. I gotta get it going. I got it registered and everything. I just gotta get it up and running now.
How did you register it with the state? You told
LLC.
me LLC. Yeah, that's the way to go.
I honestly, I don't want to be a nonprofit. I want to make money, and I want to take every bit of that money and I want to spend it on fighting the shit out of all those people. All those people.
I mean, that's where it gets tricky. It's like how you incorporate. So, like, lots of times, if you incorporate as a 501c3, then that limits
10%.
your ability.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it limits your ability to get involved with politics.
You can't lobby. You can only use like 10% of whatever it is. And then a C4. Now, a C5 just got brought to my attention. And someone mentioned that. And I guess I don't know what it is. I got a CPA that's working on I'm working on a C3 anyways for a Campfire Roots, which is just a nonprofit I wanted to start for. I want to get kids off of cell phones and out of their house and out in the woods. So.
Yeah, that stuff gets really complicated. Like, we have the Oklahoma Hound Pack, which is a political action committee, and like the sole purpose of that is to be political. But like, we have to submit monthly financial statements to the state of Oklahoma, and they limit how we can spend money. I mean, it gets way above my pay grade.
And what are you guys?
That's a political action committee.
Oh.
But yeah, like our Oklahoma Dog Hunting Association it's just a straight LLC. So that opens you up to do. The state's not totally in your finances, and it opens you up to do more stuff.
Well, that's what I said. I'm going to run it like a business. I want to take that money and I want to take the dog around to the schools and let people know about everything.
Yeah, I mean, what we do in Oklahoma, what we do with the Dog Hunting Association is I liken it to like a savings account. Mm-hmm. So we just take all those dues that come in each year and they just go into a savings account, and we just build up this war chest, so that whenever
they come to
legislation pops up, then we've got a war chest of money that we can use to advertise. I mean, we fight for dog hunters who have been wronged with lawyers, and so yeah, I mean, it's $20 a year to join, and your money just gets thrown into a savings account and it's sitting there.
I've had a lot of reach on it. I'm actually kind of surprised. I've had the Bighorn Sheep Society reach out, Arizona Trapping Association reach out. So there's just no dog guys in Arizona, and I didn't want to do it, but no one else is going to do it.
Yeah, no one wants. Yeah, no one wants to do it because it's not fun, and
it isn't fun,
and it doesn't pay anything, and just kind of puts a target on your head, but it needs to be done.
And I think we need to play their games. I really do.
But yeah, I mean, if you're in, sheep are big where you're at, I guess.
They are.
So, I mean, that's like us. I mean, we're not affiliated with the Cattlemen's Association, but we're fairly friendly with them, and they have way more pull than we do.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like making alliances with those other fringe groups.
Got to get along.
Yeah. And the whole like trapper dog hunter thing, there's like a big valley, between those two. But if you can breach that,
we're okay here because we can't use leg hold traps, and I think that's why it's not a big deal. But
you can't,
no, not in public lands. I don't even know if you can use them on private property anymore. I honestly don't know. I haven't trapped since the 90s. I would get out of school, get on my 3-wheeler with no helmet, and I'd be gone till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere, 20 miles away. I had a big trap line.
Yeah, when I was a kid, like when I say kid, I mean I was like 11, 12. Like me and a neighborhood kid were friends, and yeah, we ran a trap line before school every morning.
Yep. So I got these 2 fingers hurt from pulling their eye sockets down, or right here, and then this finger from skinning that head out. Pulling my eye sockets, or just skinning. Lots of coyotes, bobcat. The good days, and I think you said, or someone had said, that we are in the good days because we got Garmin and we got vehicles, but like, what was Ben Lilly's good days? What was his, thank God we have it? He didn't use nothing but a knife, and you know what I mean? There's not even much talk about him using a gun.
No, I mean he used a gun quite a bit.
Did he?
I think
what did he shoot? Because it's not like
I think he shot a 32 rifle a lot. No, but I mean he used a gun quite a bit.
That's a good rifle. Yeah, but he's not famous for a gun. He's famous for that knife, the Ben Lilly knife.
Yeah, but he's kind of famous as a marksman too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's famous as a marksman and like physically being strong. Like,
well, he was 5'9", 180 pounds. He wasn't.
Yeah, he was a short, kind of stout guy.
He wasn't a small guy.
No, but I mean, like in that time period, 5'9" probably would have been on the tall side. People were shorter back then. I mean, you're only talking inches, but yeah. Yep. I think he was born in the 1880s, maybe. Or no, he's born before that.
Oh no, what was he born? He was born in 56, 1856.
Yeah. So yeah, 5'9" in 1856 was probably. I mean, he wasn't 5'9" when he was born, but in that time period, he wasn't a short man in his time period. But he was super strong, and he was also a prankster. Like he had a good sense of humor. Like he liked to joke with people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did he act silly sometimes, like the guy who followed him around? Did he just not like the guy and he was trying to lose him, or he'd go away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you got to remember, like at that point in his life, he was legitimately crazy.
Yeah, that was when he was older.
Yeah, he was odd his whole life. At the end of his life, he was legitimately crazy. So you can't put a whole lot of weight to that. But no, like in his younger life, in his middle life, he was known as like a prankster. Like he liked to joke around.
Yeah. It's a big difference too.
If he liked to joke around, then that means that he liked people.
Yeah.
To an extent, you would think.
It's a big difference too, those days and these days. Everybody want to talk about Ben Lilly, but man, the dog handling these days to those days, the dogs from those days, the footwear, the clothes, they didn't have super warm clothes. They didn't have Sika, or they didn't have these hiking boots that were insulated.
Oh no, man! Like last week, I was looking for it yesterday and I couldn't find it. But last week, I saw a picture of a cowboy boot from probably that time period, like probably mid 1800s. This cowboy boot, I got to find a picture of it again. It would blow your mind. Like, I mean, you can just look at it and see how uncomfortable this thing had to be. Like,
Hard leather soles, not rubber.
this cowboy boot had wood soles. It was a heeled cowboy boot, and it looked to be wood. But I mean, it just looked painful as all get out. We've got it so easy, we don't even understand how easy we got it.
Well, didn't he nail horseshoes to the bottom of his feet or something? His shoes
To the bottom of his shoes, because he would. And Ben didn't wear boots. Ben wore shoes. Like he wouldn't wear a boot.
I wonder
But he would
why.
Probably limited mobility in his ankle, probably. But they said he would wear out a brand new pair of boots so fast. I mean, like in a couple months. I mean, he would just wear them out. So then he started nailing horseshoes on the bottom of them.
Huh.
We don't realize how good we got it.
No, we don't.
I mean,
saying,
me and Chris were hunting. Me and Chris Powell were hunting, and they was all making fun of me because I was wearing, I like Thurgood boots.
Yeah.
And they're just like a wedge sole, like work boot. And they're all wearing, like
the hiking boots.
Yeah. And they were making fun of me. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, dudes like Ben Lilly wouldn't even know what to do with like a Thurgood boot. They would just think they were in heaven.
I was just talking to my cousin about, because I wear my cowboy boots, and they're not cowboy boots. They're probably same as yours. They're just a soled work boot, but they're, I wear them for everything. I wear them the cowboy.
They got a heel on them, though?
Yeah, a little bit.
A heel on them?
Yeah. It's kind of. It's not a flat sole boot, but they don't have a tall heel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just has.
I just wear a flat sole boot.
Well, it's just like a work boot. Yeah. But that's what I hike in. It don't bother me. I hike in those. I ride in those. I drive in those. That's all I wear.
I mean, if you gave Ben Lilly that boot, I mean, he would be on cloud nine. He would tear that boot up in no time.
Oh, yeah. No, these boots only last me. I'm not doing a whole lot. I've never had them last a year.
Yeah.
6 months, 8 months at the most. That's all I wear, though. I don't wear hiking boots, and I have some real good snow boots, like snow hiking boots, but I don't wear those either.
Yeah.
But I do got some mucks, and I got some Kelkels, and I did a video on those Kelkels. You were talking about uncomfortable boots. I was going to tell you, try a pair of those Kelkels. Kalkal. Really, honestly, it's a soft rubber boot. And if they weren't so hot, they're warm, but they're waterproof. They're just like mucks, but they're lighter, not as bulky, and they're soft. You can walk in them.
What do you need a muck boot for in Arizona?
I live in snow. I live in snow, and I live in snow that melts in a day, and so it turns into clay mud.
Oh yeah.
So I'm 5'10", 11, 12, 6'1", 6'2" by end of the day. I start off 5'10", 11, 10 and a half, whatever I am. And then I end up.
Oh, it collects on your boot.
Oh my God. Bad. Yeah. So, but those Kelkels are pretty good boot, honestly, and they're cheap, like $80. So.
Yeah, that's cheap. I mean, I usually pay like close to $300 per pair of boots.
Yeah, well, the mucks, the mucks are expensive, but they're heavy. I like them, but after wearing these, I like these better. So.
Yeah, they're just too hot for me. I can't take them.
No, they are. These are really hot. Even I don't wear a hoodie unless it's probably under 40 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, I ride my motorcycle in 40 degrees. I always say if it gets in, I can ride my bike until my Harley until it's under 20. Once it breaks into those teens, and I'll quit riding.
Yeah, I can't do motorcycles.
No,
No,
I'm doing it this weekend.
I like the idea of motorcycles. Like years ago, I bought a 73 Triumph Bonneville.
Oh yeah,
It was beautiful. Like I'm not a biker, but I've always just liked the way that those bikes look.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to buy one. I bought one, and I quickly realized, like, yeah, I can't do this. For
you
one,
have to get your biker legs on for sure.
I mean, I wasn't really that worried about I could ride the bike fine. I wasn't worried about my ability. It was the cars around me that drove. Like I would be cruising down the road, and there'd be a dude sitting on a side road, and he would look me square in the eye,
Mhm.
and then just pull right out in front of me, and I'd have to lock the brakes up and skid it, and after a couple times of that, I was like, I'm gonna die on this thing.
A couple of weekends ago, I had a guy in a horse trailer cut me off, and then there was a kid in the Suburban in front of him that seen it happen. I just came over and went around him and gave him like I don't look very pleasant when I'm in my biker outfit, I guess. I got all my rings on, and then a guy in front of him was pissed. Some kid slams on his brakes on that guy, keeps that guy way back there. He's pulling like a sundowner, 30-foot horse trailer.
Yeah.
But I always try to watch as best I can. And I don't ride down here in Phoenix, Arizona. I stay up in my part of the country, and I don't go to town on the weekends because it's dummies, a lot of dummies. So, but I do got a bike rally this weekend. So
Yeah.
that's where I'll be. Got a hotel for a couple nights, dump my kids off, go do a little poker run.
Yeah, yeah. You got a long ride?
It's probably it's right by my house. So I ride to the hotel. The hotel's only about probably 15, 20 miles away. It's on the reservation. So I rent a hotel from last year I went. So I'll rent it for this year. And then it's $65 for both of us, me and my wife. And then they have hamburgers Friday night, steak dinners Saturday night.
Yeah, that pays for it.
I got a bunch of we just stayed right there. We do a run. It's probably 200 miles all the way around in a circle. Go get all your poker run stuff and you come back. So, yeah. That's what I'm doing this weekend. There's nothing open. No bear and lion ain't open. I can go chase some coon, but I can't kill them.
You guys have a season on coon?
Pursuit for 2 months, and they kill them the rest of the year. I think it's April, May, June. What is it? So June and July is pursuit only. We don't got coon like you guys got. I have people that live over there in Oklahoma, and they send me a picture of their feeder. Packed full of coon.
That'd be 15 or 20 coons.
Exactly right. No lie. So, yeah, when there's, I don't know. I coon hunted. I got a little creek I can coon hunt on, but I haven't done it in a while. And then I did the hound trials this past weekend. So I won a tree barking contest. Well, my 5-year-old daughter did. So.
Yeah, I go coon every once in a while. I don't have my own dogs, but I'll go with some people, and it always sounds fun. And then I start doing it. I'm like, there's no excitement here.
Why am I out here at 2 a.m?
I mean, if it was my dogs, it'd be different, but I'm just chasing some other guy.
My boys are 10 years old now, and I need to, they both kind of got their own little dogs they pick out, but I need to take them down to the creek and just let them catch some coons.
Yeah.
But, 10-year-olds, they can stay up to maybe midnight, 10, 11, and they're falling asleep. So,
yeah.
But you got to get them kids out.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get them, interested in it, before 13 or so, it's pretty tough after that.
I try to push people, and to take your kids, get your kids out. You know, like me and Brett talk about all the time. You know, he says like it's not hound hunters who watch our videos. It's people who can't get out and do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, is what it is. And a lot of people just don't. It's weird to us. It's weird to us that you have someone who don't know how to make a knife or put Team G on your wall or build your house or work on your car. You know,
Yeah.
but it's that's what they want to watch. They'll sit at home and watch it instead of go do it. So
Yeah, and like with me putting out the magazine, a big portion of the people that subscribe to the magazine are guys who are too old to physically go do it, you know,
Mhm.
but they did it most of their life and they kind of live vicariously through
yep,
magazines, and a lot of those guys aren't, you know, even on
social
the internet.
media. Oh,
Yeah.
that they love the magazines. I love the
Yeah.
magazines.
Yeah. It's a part of our culture that's kind of going by the wayside.
And if we had hogs here, I'd be a hog hunter. I'll tell you that. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, I mean it's exciting. You know, I mean I think that it's the best measure of a dog. It's like I'm interested in dogs foremost. I'm not really interested in pigs. So I look at hog hunting as just a way to like evaluate dogs.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good measure. And it's fun. It gets tough. But that's what
Well,
makes it fun.
and then last year I took about 3 people and changed their mind on hounds that I bumped into the woods. One guy I took to a tree. He was an archery deer hunter. He said, "Oh, they seen a bear over here." I said, "Yeah, I think I have it treed actually over here." I said, "Yeah, you're more than welcome. Come in." I said, "If it's a boar, you can." I think it was archery season. I said, "If it's a boar, I'll let you kill it. I don't care. Burn up your tag. Let my dogs chew on something." But I said, if it's little, and it's a female, or if it's a female, I probably won't let you kill it. And it was just a little boar, you know. You got to walk into a tree, and anybody else would have shot that bear, you know, because archery deer hunters, they're sitting there and they see a bear. It looks 300 pounds, no matter how big it is.
No, yeah.
I said, that's not a good bear. Oh, it looks good. I said, it always look good, but I'm gonna tell you right now that might be a 125-pound bear. I said, you don't want that bear.
Yeah.
You know. And then I treat another one. We ran a ways, and some deer hunters came up to us, and they're kind of like hinting around. They would shoot that bear. I said, you don't want that bear. I said, it looks like a German Shepherd. I said, look how big the ears are. I said, that's a cub in my book. You seen the mom? I said, listen, any bear that's 100 pounds is a cub to me. Like there's no reason to shoot that bear.
Yeah, who wants to shoot a 100-pound bear?
A deer hunter who's never seen a bear at 20 feet,
Yeah.
you know. And if you're sitting in a stand or you're sitting there waiting for a deer, and bear comes. I killed a bear a few years ago on a mountain, big bear, the first bear ever misgendered, and this thing was over 300 pounds. Well, a few hundred yards up the road, 400 or 500 yards up the road, I guess another guy killed the boar. There was a boar with it. It was a sow, and I didn't know. I thought it was I thought I'd seen balls because it was so fat. It curled up on the branch and had a blocky head. I would have bet money on it. But the guy killed the boar down 400 yards away, sitting in a stand, waiting for deer, probably thinking these sons of bitches, town guys are ruining my hunt.
Yeah.
And then here comes a 250-pound bear. It was a smaller one, 200-pound bear walking 10 yards from him. Whacked it with his bow. You're welcome. You're welcome, guy. But
yeah, I'm supposed to be getting my bear back. Should be any day from that we got in New Mexico. I'm excited.
You need to come out, do some lion hunting.
Yeah, I want to. I just got to get a block of time carved out.
But you own your own business. Isn't that what everybody says? You have it easy. You own your own business.
That's what everybody says. That's not the way it goes.
It's easier to collect a check than it is to own your own business.
It is, and a lot less.
That's stressful. What I do. I subcontract work out, you know. So
yeah, when I work for other people, it'd be like everything's going to hell in a handbasket,
You
problems.
get to go home.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's 3:30. I'm clocking out and going home. And
Yep.
guess what? I'm not thinking about this
Nope.
till 7 next morning. But when you own it, it's totally different. Even if you do get peeled away, all you can do is think, oh
Yeah.
goodness, what are we going to do tomorrow morning? It's not all it's cut out to be. I mean, it worked. I mean, I'm happy. I wouldn't have it any other way, but
Yeah.
it's not what people think.
No, I'm gonna this job I'm on right now. I've been on for a while, and it was supposed to have been done by May 7th, but it's not. So I'm gonna concentrate on the age, the dog association, the alliance. I started this little podcast network, but it's gonna be a little bit of everything. I'll put my free Castin stuff on there. I'll put my PI stuff on there. So we'll probably put some interview stories and tales on there.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
won't be no Joe Rogan, but
we need to get together. I mean, not on the podcast, just on a phone call or something, a Zoom call or something. But I can kind of give you some of the material that was passed to us when we started ODHA. That you can totally just alter a little bit, and will kind of work for Arizona. Mm-hmm. What years is Arizona working and hunting dogs, or what's the name of it?
Oh, Arizona Working Dog Alliance.
Yeah.
I tried to keep it a very wide, broad, because when they're done with us hunters, they're going to go after the cattle guys. They're going to go after the bird dogs. They're going to just keep going. They're idiots. They're stupid.
Yeah. You got to throw a wide net on that.
And I'm gonna go after these people that are in Arizona, and legally, I'm a private investigator. I can legally stalk you. So I'm going to dig up every bit of dirt I can on these people, and I will follow them around until they buy a hooker or snort a line of cocaine or something.
That'd be cool.
Because nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. When I find you screwing that underage girl or boy or cheating on your husband, I'm going to show everybody how you're not perfect.
Or, you go to them and go, hey, this bill's
time for you to
up.
retire.
Either that or I mean, actually the best way to probably go about it is to go to them and be like, this is what I got. You're going to vote the way I say, or this comes out.
I got to be careful with the blackmail stuff.
That's more valuable than just getting kicked out, because you kick them out, you just have some other scoundrel pop in their place.
Are you telling me that don't happen with commissioners,
legislators? It happens every day.
And I talked to some people. I got some pretty good friends here and there, and I did talk to some people, and they told me, don't screw that ballot initiative. Get it in legislature first. Don't worry about ballot. That ballot's a joke. Don't try to get this big thing. They you gotta get it written in legislature, not amendments. Says it's just stupid to try to do all that stuff.
On the ballot side,
I'm gonna get with them and have them really go in depth. This was like a quick drive-by, educational. This is what you should do.
Yeah, like on the ballot initiative side, it usually comes down to a rural versus an urban voter, which in most states, us rural guys are outnumbered. And then when it goes to that platform, those people have deeper pockets than we do, and that's important. Like they can advertise to like twist people's votes more than we can advertise. So we have a lot better luck on the legislative side than the ballot side.
And it's no different than this podcast. The title of this is Ed Barnes, Ben Lilly, who I could have put on there. I can't believe she's going to get naked for us tonight. I would have had more views. And that's all that ballot initiative is. That ballot, when you're at the ballot, you read the heading, the title. And if it just says preserve wildlife, people are going to vote for it, period.
Yeah, most people aren't educated on stuff. So really, when they go into the ballot box, they're going to vote for the side that they've seen the most advertisements for, the most billboards for, the most yard signs for. They don't really even know what's going on. And it costs a lot of money to try to actually educate people and actually get them to vote on the real topic, you know.
It's hard to educate them on the real topic. And that's
Yeah.
like I was telling you, my goal would be to copy everything these guys do. If they put out a pamphlet that says this, and this, you put out the exact same color pamphlet with a big thing on the front that says, look at these lies, but it looks exactly like their pamphlet. And you go hand it exactly the same person. Like, I think you have to really play their game. If they have a booth set up, you have one set up next to them.
Yeah, but it's an expensive game to play.
It is. So I'm trying to find some people who need to write off some money.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about, you know, like Garmin. Like, theoretically, Garmin should be, you know, donating to Arizona and Oklahoma and every
Colorado.
other state, you know. Same thing like Brett was saying, the dog food manufacturers, they should be throwing money our way because we're gone. They ain't selling near as much dog food, but for whatever reason, they just don't, you know.
They don't want the drama, period.
Yeah,
you know how many people these days film something? There's a girl getting her ass beat on the side of the road and they got their cameras out. I told my kids, if I ever found out you videoed someone getting their ass beat, bullied, you're going to get it when you get home.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a different day, you know, and I get irritated when people say we're going to lose it, but it's hard. It's really hard not to think that way. It's really hard not to think that way because of the population. You know, you got rural way down here and urban. There's just there's more people that are getting out of hunting. Their dads hunted. They don't hunt no more. Or there's older people who don't hunt no more and they just don't really care about it. They don't have time.
And it's not getting any better. I mean, it's going to continue to get worse. I mean, you just look at our culture in general, and it's, you know, me and you and Brett and all these people I know. We are the cavemen of this time.
Yeah.
And nothing's turning around in the next 5 years, 10 years that I can see to change that trajectory. You know, we're going to continue to become a smaller and smaller and smaller minority group.
The only thing that would turn that around is something drastic that would happen.
Yeah, I mean, and if something drastic, I don't know.
You're not going to care about balloting. You're going to care about feeding you, your family, your dogs. That's going to feed you and your family.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the only hope we have, and it's kind of depressing to think about. But
yeah, it definitely ain't a Ben Lilly time no more. You know, that guy could just walk free and go. Everybody walks free and go. You know,
the only thing that makes it a little more palatable is that probably if you talk to Ben Lilly in 1925, he would probably be saying the same things we're saying.
Oh yeah, because of cars.
It's not like it used to be. And yeah, you got these cars,
electricity, water, so grocery stores.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we kind of have going for us. You know, people have been saying it for a long time.
Yep. And right there, kids nowadays hunt more for stupid videos, and that's why I can do good on TikTok, or because they don't get out and ride a mule.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Well, Chris, I think I'm going to go to bed.
Yep. I seen you yawn. You made me yawn. 3 hours coming up. So.
Past my bedtime.
I was thinking about going fishing, but I think we're just going to watch a cowboy movie. My son's down here. One of my twins. I alternate him when he gets some one-on-one time. And we're going to probably go hang out.
Yeah, I'm taking off tomorrow and headed to the river. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm looking forward to it.
Headed home tomorrow night to go get to that bike rally. So getting rid of the kids for the weekend.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it again sometime.
We will. I'll get with you next week. I got to do Monday Night Live Monday. I got a political thing to do Tuesday, and I got this on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to get old Jason Doobie on. He texted me and said, "Oh, am I coming on tonight?" I'm like, he forgot about it, So I said, "No,
Jason
I'll remind you
Doobie
next week."
From Full Cry?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
Maybe he'll get on next week. All righty, and I'll get hold of you next week sometime, and we'll jump on here and talk some association stuff.
Yeah, I'll try to dig up some stuff and email it to you.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see you.
All righty, thank you.
Bye.
All right, guys. 3 hours of nonsense. First hour was nonsense. A little bit about Ben Lilly. There's not much about Ben Lilly, really. Just got a couple books, and it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I don't got nothing coming up. I'm going to go ride my Harley this weekend. Hang out with the old lady. Monday night, I have no clue what we're doing. We wait till the last minute. Wednesday night, maybe Jason Doobie from Full Cry. If you're interested, I'll probably post something for Tuesday night, but it's going to be a private investigator thing with a couple Army guys. So it might be kind of interesting if you guys are interested. It'll be on CMW Investigations face or YouTube. I don't advertise. I don't even got but one video on there. You guys, thanks for coming. Always remember, keep your powder dry and stay safe out there.